Hello, everybody, and welcome back to European Challengers and the Challengers Elite at large as we're in the round robin stage and it's the third day of action. The standings are looking pretty juicy. A lot of top-sided teams that need to start finding a bit of a difference between them and the rest of the pack. My whole shift, and of course, with me, I can't do this all myself. I gotta bring in my brother from another mother, my homie from another country. I was trying to rhyme one. It didn't really work out that well. I've got Visions, though, with me. Austin, how are you feeling? We got a full day worth of challengers today.
Dude, I'm feeling fantastic. It's week number 2 here in the Elite. We have playoff implications. We had some incredible games, a lot of them going the distance to some game 5. So who knows what we got in store for today, but I'm here for it. It's going to be a great time.
Electricity all over the first week only means good things, hopefully, for the second week. Let's take a look to see how things have stirred up so far and where exactly we'll be going. Our match schedule for today, of course, we're starting in Europe. Sukri's Bakery, Revenge Tour. 2 teams locked in a 4-way tie for first, and then Money Form and the Originals will be our second overall match. We'll take a bit of a break, and then when we come back, we'll be in the North American region where things get arguably more interesting with 5 to 6 teams that are shaking things up at the top of their standings. But before we really talk about North America, of course, what's on the table right here? How about all 4 of these teams at the top of the groupings? Revenge Tour, Sukri's Bakery, Young Galactics, Money Form, arguably, if not definitively, the top 4 teams in Europe as we started into the Vanguard year. And wouldn't you know it, we find them all gridlocked for a tie at first, Austin.
Oh, we sure do. I mean, all 4 of these guys at 3-1, and a lot of the head-to-heads, a lot of the map counts, they're going to come into play for today. So you want to be able to have some convincing wins, but more importantly, just want wins on the board, period, so that you have a shot at being able to make it to playoffs. But you can see it down here as well. 5th place, we got the Originals here, Alan. We're going to see them a little later. We'll see if they might have what it takes to get through their first match, and then their second to potentially be able to contest these top 4 squads currently gridlocked, as you said, at 3-1.
The thing about it, and you mentioned it there for just a moment, not only do we have 4 teams deadlocked at that 3-1 tally, but the map count could play a huge difference maker if head-to-head implications come into play. Only 4 teams make it into the playoffs, which have turned into a double elimination format this year. Last year, we only relegated 2 after the group stage. This year, it's bottom 4 are gone. Top 4 move on. So with that, let's frame up this first overall matchup. Sukri's Bakery, Revenge Tour. And for Sukri's Bakery, Eric Boom, Sukri, Super, and Yako, as mentioned, tied for first. But how about Super this stage so far, Austin? He has been unbelievable for this team.
He has been unbelievable. I mean, I was thinking that they were going to change their name to Super's Bakery for week number 2 or something like this with the way that he was playing. And I mean, there's probably not going to be a ton of Danishes and donuts in that bad boy, because with the way that he was playing and the way that he was bringing out the consistency through multiple different game modes, but also just having maps where he could individually take over, that is just so impressive, especially when you're talking about the talent that they have to go up against constantly here throughout this entire Elite. So I was very impressed with what Super brought to the table. I think altogether as a team, this team has actually meshed quite well. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to be able to come into week 2 after a lot more gameplay and a lot more information on the rest of the squads.
The other thing too, just kind of to hit that other information box, the control has been so good for this team, which is a huge difference maker considering that we only have 2 maps in the pool. And it's still a very recent game mode. So really interesting, I think, and we'll see the map set later and figure out if that will be maybe the key to victory for both of these 2 teams. But before we jump into that, let's talk about Revenge Tour, because they have also obviously been putting together a very solid first week. Denza, the namesake of the squad, has lived up to this name so far. We needed to see consistency from him, and we've gotten it. But the big storyline has been Watson, a 1.28 KD, and how about the 1.33 in hardpoint and the 1.32 in control? He's been a menace in the respawn.
I mean, you can't ask for much more out of an AR right now in Vanguard, but Watson somehow seems to keep delivering here for us. You just went through all of the stats. Again, another consistent player, but it's the fact that it's coming back from that assault rifle player, that automaton that's going to be locking those lanes down for you, that's going to be controlling those spawns. All of those important factors that we talked about in respawn is something that Watson's been able to step up to the plate with, and he's going to likely continue to keep it going here. So we have definitely a lot of key to victories lined up, but before we get to that, we do have to talk about the fact that they did end up finishing top 8 in cup number 5. So, not finding the placement I think that both of us were coming in with, at least for, the first couple of weeks, with one of the stronger squads that we do have here on paper.
The loss to the French team in the opener, GWR Signs, was I think the biggest kind of indicator of like, oh wait, what's happening here? And then they would eventually be knocked out by the Originals in lower round 1, where, you know, just to hit the flip side of things for Sucre's Bakery, it was a 3rd place finish in Cup 5 with a win initially versus Young Galactus, which was impressive, but then a loss as they repeated against them in the lower finals. So, you know, kind of a mixed bag there, but, you know, definitely when you talk about the top 4 teams in Europe, like mentioned, these have been the storied teams since December when we had Cup number 1. A lot of expectations were built off of all 4 of the rosters that we had, but then when Revenge Tour Denza kind of rebuilds this team into a major contender form, it's like, wait a second, these guys are actually looking like they're maybe not just top 4, they could be top 2, especially after their first week's performances. But that's the big thing. Cup 5, long day worth of tournament, you lose in surprising fashion to Signs, and then you lose to the Originals. They're kind of in a bit of a question. So with that, big bounce back, I would say, needed for Revenge Tour, and this is the 5-map series layout that we're going to have for this very crucial set for both of these teams, trying to establish themselves to be one of the first squads to get to 4 wins in Europe. Berlin, Bacage, double dose of Tuscan, and then the Berlin. And I think the biggest thing here is the fact that that double dose of Tuscan is great news for Revenge Tour.
I would say so, without a doubt coming in. I'm sure they're very happy that they're not going to see any Gavutus in this 5-set series that we do have for ourselves. And, well, it comes back to the point that we already brought up here, Alan, where this control in the map number 3 is going to be extremely pivotal for both of these teams. I mean, at the moment, Sucre's Bakery, they have been flawless in it. They are the best control team currently in Europe. And when you talk about, you know, the other side here for Revenge Tour, they are 3-1, but that's all taking place on Tuscan. So they have lots of reps on this map, where on the other side, Sucre's Bakery has only played 1, but they have won it. So we'll see exactly which way that swings. But on top of it, I would say that there's a lot of favored maps here in this pool that both teams are probably going to be happy about. But I think Revenge Tour did end up coming out with just a slight lead here throughout the series layout, and we'll see if they're going to be able to take advantage of it.
And the questionable thing here is, for both teams, a lot of playtime on the Berlin Search and Destroy, but both teams in that map too, Bacage, round 11, only playing it once. Now, granted, both of them did win it, but the thing is, Search and Destroy has changed a lot here for challengers. You know, we talked about it a lot kind of into last week, where the defensive side was so heavily favored because of how the plant was being used for essentially just using sound checks. That could change a little bit. So what normally is a heavy defensive side, Bacage, Search and Destroy, I wouldn't be surprised if that change is implemented, where we're going to start seeing some more aggressive challenges from the defenders and not just play reserved, sit back. So I've actually got a lot of hindsight into what could happen on that map to Bacage.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially that map, right, where a lot of players defensively like to sit at the back of Granny's house, like to be able to play those sound cues, and then they rush in right away. So now I feel like you have a couple of different strategies with the way that you can approach S&D, but first, we got to get through the hard point here for us. Both teams currently 1-1. We already talked about how important it's going to be for both of them to pick up a win, tied at 3-1 with that gridlock with the top 4 squads currently in Europe here for us. And, well, of course, we can't get through it without our observers here, Alan. We got Quentin Johnson and Shane Ard, some of the best here in the industry, to take us through the action.
A little Paragoat action for us? You kidding me? To what do we owe this pleasure? We'll find out. Into it immediately. Sucre's Bakery starting off on the favorite side. Good first eliminations from Eric Boom, who, you know, we didn't talk a lot about him in the pre-setup, but he has been running, you know, just that side-by-side role with Yako, where both players at individual moments last year, they were needed to be the superstar slayers. This year, they've been kind of playing more of a selfless role, and things have been looking pretty solid, especially considering that they even play for a bit of a spawn. This is interesting, actually. They're opting to give away the spawns to set themselves up for essentially what is a spawn trap and an easy rotation to 2. What awareness is that from Super? And a flawless start from Sucre's Bakery off the first hard point.
Oh, it sure is. And now Sucre gets to start cutting down some of the members coming off of that spawn in the back in the train yard here. So a scary moment right now for Revenge Tour to try to stabilize early. But Sucre already on a bit of a spree here. 4 in a row. Watson will shut him down to make sure that no glide bomb comes into play off the rip. But now you got to get through Super, who's starting to cut off some of the players moving in through the street side. So as we look at the hard point, Kez is able to get himself one, and they'll finally start to be able to start soaking up some time.
Thing about it is, look how far away these respawners are for Revenge Tour, and they're possibly being cut off by Yako. Good awareness for Denza to get that elimination. Mythic's trying to play his life. creates an opportunity for the hard point to go neutral, but at some point in time, you need to start seeing Revenge Tour finding some sort of a significant setup anywhere. There has not been a good moment. If you were to take just little individual screenshots of the minimap, there has not been a single one of those that you could argue that Revenge Tour is in a formidable position. So something needs to change on these setups, and so far with a 3-man feed and a quick rotation flipping the spawns around, this is exactly what you need for Revenge Tour to mitigate this early damage that's been done on the scoreboard.
Yeah, certainly in the case. Big moment here, able to contest some of the scrap time, and you can, keep them further pushed back if you can find some of the kills where Denza has got information onto one. He comes from behind, but that's fine. 1-for-1 trade. You have your teammates in position, but already moving through the map, Super's found himself in a spot where he might have been able to try to influence the spawns. You already touched on it. They've been able to at least affect the Riverside, so everyone's here. Keza, though, with the turn on Yako, tries to save the play. He just needs to find one more in the back, but Sukari able to play his life for now, but Denza trades him out.
That is unbelievable from Keza. It clears off the back, and now, of course, you can just focus everything towards what's coming through fire, but Sukari's Bakery just walks into the hard point, finds a 4-man feed as if Revenge Tour maybe wasn't fully aware of what the situation was at hand. A quick recovery. Now looking for the rebreak is the side of Revenge Tour, but they just are not finding eliminations from the front. You tally up with the minimap, and Watson's already thinking about rotation. So is Mythics, and wow, as good as the play Keza made, it just immediately gets countered in the blink of an eye by Sukari's Bakery. The lead goes back up to nearly 50.
Oh, but Super big 1-on-1 there versus Mythics. And look at the minimap here again. I mean, you talk about the spawns and just the influential it has on a map like Berlin, where Super wins that 1-on-1 gunfight, and all of a sudden you have no one in position. You have to battle through some tough gunfights to get back to this hard point. You have 2 players in the back here, so there's a chance to be able to bully out Super, as he's going to have that AR, but he's also got great assistance. But Watson, the lockdown AR we talked about, that has been a part of a lot of the success here for this team, is able to get in for one. But the front, the subs, the pressure, everything just swarming from the back. And finally, it's Revenge Tour that get a foot inside of the hard point for now.
Brother, look, as much as we were framing up Watson's unbelievable display during week 1, he's currently 3-6. Not only is that obviously double neg, but it's just not a lot of engagements for a player who was almost leading engagements throughout the respawns in total last week. So definitely a change has occurred, and I think a lot of that goes to credit to the man on screen. 11-5, even with the pistol, trying to finesse around Denza, gets eventually shut down, but the lead is still significant for Sukari's Bakery as we try to look towards the rotation and look at this play on the north side of the minimap from Sukari's Bakery. They want to try to play from this dock side, control fire, and then eventually make a play for the hard point.
It's a scary moment right now where you're 50 points down. Sukari's Bakery has been controlling a lot of this tempo, and it's because of Yako, who is on 8 in a row right now. Talk about a moment here from Yako where we were framing up Alan. We haven't seen a lot from this young kid right now in the Elite, but maybe this is where things start to change, start to turn around. There's Nine. Who is going to trade him? The player close on him, you would think, but the assistance, the team shots, and the cover looking solid. And now Yako, he gets to start pressuring the new hill, and he can come up from behind and spoil the entire setup.
Yako is just untouchable. And from 3-6 to 3-10 is on the other side as Watson. It's just, color me surprised. I'll just say that much. We were looking at this matchup like, dude, thank goodness we're going to have a banger on the mainstream. And so far, that has not lived up to the expectation as of yet. Still an opportunity here, though, for Revenge Tour. Don't want to throw them out of the conversation as of yet, especially considering that they will rotate over to P1 with a favorable setup. But you got to find some kills, and oh my goodness, Eric Boom just completely slides past Denza as if he was completely slipped up with Vaseline or something. He was just on a little bit of a slip and slide through main, and that's going to lead to an opportunity now for Sukari's Bakery to try to challenge, but good release of the pressure as Revenge Tour find a couple of kills that will at least put some pressure on the front.
Yeah, Keza getting a little aggressive. He's just going searching around the point. He does give up at least a little bit of the hold inside of the hard point, and that means that there's an angle to be able to push through. So nice timing for the side of Sukari's Bakery, trying to get in for the remaining 30 seconds. But Denza up next finds an unbelievable win there. Goes for the second with the hip fire, but the pistol will end up taking him down. 87 to 128. Sukari's Bakery grabbing all of that hill time, and now Keza fighting here with his teammates to try to get a rotational win here into P2.
It's difficult. You don't have a lot of high ground pressure, but the kills outside mailroom look good. And with that 3-man feed, initial time will go the way of Revenge Tour. Still down, but not out by any stretch of the imagination. This is a great position for Mythics. Good read on where this hit's going to be coming from. The problem is the help is still not here. Still spawning out in Narnia at the moment is Revenge Tour, back by where the third hard point would be. So you've got to find a way to break on in, and a lot of it's going to have to come through the docks. Lots of pressure onto the ARs, and Mythics provides double for him. Now the break on the way forward, it's Denza. Of course it is. Gets the elimination with that. 30 seconds on the clock, and Revenge Tour in the hard point.
And the big factor here is you have so many streaks to play with, so even if you end up losing this rotation, you can end up winning throughout this Riverside like you did the last time around. And while that happens, I mean, Sukari Bakery, I mean, they're still here on this time. You can see the pressure right now from Revenge Tour wanting to try to get some members inside of the hard point, but Yakko needs to be dealt with. Denza will clean up the two-piece, so they'll deny at least 10 seconds or so and force some of the respawns a little bit further back, but now this is where you have to start dodging it on the streaks, winning your gunfights, and you have to come out with a full hold here on the Money Hill.
You need Watson to show up. He's averaging less than 1 kill per hard point right now. Now, granted, he could be putting in a lot of extra damage and getting assists that we don't see, but he has to lock down this outer lane. Glide Bomb comes through, survives through it. Good pressure from the subs to get 2. But where's this next hit coming from Sukari's Bakery? The answer is, it's coming from Eric. Double up the front, and then around the back. No kills for either of the ARs for Revenge Tour. Unreal stuff. And still, Watson, where are you? Load into the map, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing one of your key players that has been the reason you're 3-1 right now. It's been the reason why they've been pretty strong throughout multiple game modes, and you're not getting it. And Sukari is able to clean up a couple more members as they start to exit off of T3. And now Yakko is just running through Mythics, running through Keza in the back. Another force breeze about to overlap the streaks here, Alan. And the scrap time, sure, it's picked up, but look at the rotation. Sukari's Bakery once again at the point first.
The fact that Revenge Tour are still just down 50 is borderline a miracle right now, considering how the rotations have gone for Sukari's Bakery, the fact that the SMGs for SB are just running forward and doing what they want. Even Super, a bit of finesse on 4, looking for the 5th. Wants to wait, though, for the regen before he commits to the gunfight, and now that he has it, here he goes. No. Good shutdown by Keza. It's just, I am at a loss for how Revenge Tour aren't down by 180 right now, just based on how this map has gone.
I mean, yeah, it is still somehow winnable, and this next 30 seconds could be a huge part of who ends up coming out here with the win. Sukari's Bakery, they do have a couple of numbers around the point. They have train station control. We'll also give them an easy pivot to the new hill, but first, Denza wants to apply some pressure on the old hill here. 15 seconds to try to fight for. Watson trying to make a move on the hard point, is able to come up with one, turning for Yakko with a pistol. So a couple of kills do end up coming in, and now we'll see just about 150 if they can grab the rest of this time. So still doable, but P5 is about to be extremely scrappy.
It just feels like there's not a lot of help from Revenge Tour right now onto their homies. It just, a lot of individual gunfights where they're just getting shut down. There isn't really been an ability for them to kind of finesse play their life, wait for a bit of help. It's just a lot of players kind of out on an island. Even Keza right here, I mean, he's not in a tradable position. Now, granted, he is trying to play for spawn, so you don't expect him to get a lot of help from this spot, but there's just not a lot of crossfire setups coming out right now for Revenge Tour. So it's been strange because the kill margin is obviously super heavily in favor of Sukari's Bakery, but for a lot of these solo plays, they are putting some pressure away from the hard point, and it's allowing some significant time for Revenge Tour to still just barely keep themselves in this game. But they need to get something significant here. Down 50 with only 50 seconds between Sukari's Bakery and a win.
Eric.
You've got to find a rotational win, and it's just not here. Eric for 3.
Yeah, Eric just wiped out the whole team. And as soon as you're framing up, all right, this is what they have to do, Eric's like, nope, let me just stop that right in its tracks. And now you also take a look at the mini-map here at the bottom side, and you have all these blue arrows, all these members right now for Sukari's Bakery set up, and they're still finding kills as Revenge Tour desperately try to make their way throughout the map here. They're going to be able to win out in a couple of battles thanks to Denza, but now you have to get inside of the hard point. You're getting low on time. This push needs to be there, and Denza has just taken down all 4.
Yakko, though, around the side, has an opportunity to set up a bit of a pinch. Good read from Keza. So now you've got yourself a good lockdown of this hard point. And Revenge Tour, are they going to recognize that Sukari's Bakery is kind of playing with it a steep leader's advantage, just really kind of playing for rotation more than the hard point? Big 1v1 off screen. That's Mythics who's able to take down number 5 in Sukari. So that locks down the back of this hard point and allows maybe a route for them to get freely over towards Mailroom after they soak up the scrap time of 15 seconds. Sukari's Bakery, they may have let off the gas a little bit too soon.
They might have, but you still have to win a couple of these gunfights, make your way across the map, and now they find 5 consecutive wins in a row. Mythics, nice patience here, gets the information for Denza, and Denza comes in. The teamwork is lights out at the moment. This is still doable for Revenge Tour, and Denza is starting to win some ridiculous gunfights inside of the hard point. Keza also zoning away Sukari's Bakery. He can come from behind and he gets the first one.
That's a brilliant timing for just even hitting a flank route. If you get the kills, great. If not, you get information, you're still spawning up. And now here comes the hit from Sukari's Bakery. The pistols coming through. The SMGs also lighting things up. It's a 3-for-1 exchange, leaving Keza by himself, and he wants to challenge this because largely he has to. Good first elimination. Backs away from Eric. And now help has arrived. The SMG is doing everything for RT, and Keza, not done, clears the hard point. It's a 1v1 outside with Sukari over the top of the tank. Hetty, he wins that, but not enough pressure for him to challenge. 14 seconds still to play with, and Sukari's Bakery actually coming to recontest.
Yeah, they're coming to recontest. They want to put some pressure in, but Mythics finds 2. And now things do get a little interesting into the back here. The spawns will be there with the squad spawns, so they have a chance. But Mythics, he could upset the entire play. 233 to 235. In from behind. The double shots come through from both players. Yakko with the streak finds 2. Denza in the back. The spawns are here for Revenge Tour. They could flood the hill.
And they're getting the kills at the 3-for-1 exchange. Eric cannot hold strongly. 246, 235. Denza hitting her out, trying to cut off as many Sukari's Bakery players as he possibly can, and he's gonna get the 5th and the 6th! Denza clutching up for his squad! The last attempt now for Sukari's Bakery! Can they get here to touch in time? Watson, I don't care how many kills you have, those 2 are the most impressive you could possibly find! Revenge Tour, from the depths of a huge margin, survive, win a rotation, and take a 4-point lead. And Watson, start getting some stationary, writing your thank you notes because, oh my goodness, he just got carried through that hard point.
Alan, this is game 1. That's game 1 here in the best of 5. And can you believe it? The margin that was 80 points or so when we were just about halfway through that game. We were like, Sukari's Bakery, they're all over the map. They're winning rotations, and not just that, they're also breaking hard points, sometimes in the first attempt. Well, guess what happens in those last 3 hills? It's completely flipped around. Revenge Tour, they start breaking the hard points in the first attempt. We see Mythics work in the back, get that information for his teammates to come in, and then Denza, multiple big moments there to just go off. We talked about him in the qualifier, Alan, having those moments when he can individually take over a map.
Yes.
That is a map right there when Denza did just that.
Look, Watson, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. The fact of the matter is, those last 2 kills, you could have gone 2 and 40. Those last 2 kills were everything for the side of Revenge Tour. And again, you have to give a lot of credit where credit is due because the subs, unbelievable display from Revenge Tour, kept them in that game. Keza and Denza kept them in that game in so many different moments because Eric, Boom, and Yakko were having their way. It just wasn't amounting to hardpoint time. And I go back to when we got to the second rotation of hills. How was Sukari Bakery not up by 100+ points? They're winning rotations. They're heavily outslaying. The ARs were essentially absent in a number of key moments for Revenge Tour, but the subs of Keza and Denza just kept finding ways to challenge time, even if it was individual, and even though there wasn't major setups coming through, apparently it didn't matter until that P2, P3 at the very end. They win 1 rotation, 1 good route gets hit to flip the spawns. I don't know if I can do a full day of this, Austin. I'm already losing my voice, I feel like. Golly.
The heart's pumping away, and now we got the replays to go back over that map, and there was a lot of key moments to really start to look at when we get into this here, Alan, because this is that moment where at Sukari's Bakery, they start to have full set of streaks. Yakko goes on this 10 or 11 spree, where it just feels like he's just having one of those moments that he's stopping Revenge Tour. He's like a brick wall, and they're hitting it over and over again, but then we start to see the turnaround right after this hill. And there were so many points for Sukari's Bakery. We're like, hey, we have winner's advantage. We're just going to rotate. You guys have to play in trust, but it's this moment that we start to see where Revenge Tour just start winning just incredible gunfights. They're breaking the hills. Denza has like 3 or 4 of these moments all by himself that really opened up a lot of the maps here.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable because even in these final moments, you're going to see Yakko gets a huge value out of the strafing run. This is when Mythics hits that route. Yakko calls down the strafing run, and it finds 2. You see it in the kill feed there, but the spawns still stick for Revenge Tour thanks to that route. And then this play from Denza. You hit it on the head, brother. It's one of those things that he was nuts in the qualifiers. He was nuts when they first made this team. And this spree, unreal. Then the final double at the end. Wow. I am not even lying to you. I watch a lot of Vanguard. I have no idea how Sucre's Bakery doesn't win that map by 100. It should have happened. I think if you're being really critical, Sucre's Bakery needed to win that map by 100. They were outslaying. It was a 3v4 for the first 2 rotations of hills.
I mean, arguably, they should have won it on P1, like right after they had that lead.
Valid, yeah.
More than enough to get it done there, but Denza found a 4-piece. He found 2 inside a train station, and then he ran into the hill and found 2 more.
Man.
And when you can't find trades like that in those pivotal moments, I mean, that can make or break a game. That can be your window to make a comeback happen. And guess what? They make a unreal comeback happen there, and that's just the very first game. And you have to think of what that does to Sucre's Bakery.
Oh, yeah.
We've already framed up the fact that, listen, you know, this control very well could determine which way that this series ends up swinging, with both of these teams having, you know, a pretty strong record throughout the game mode as a whole, especially on the map like Tuscan, where you're 3-1, and that has been every single map mode combination that you've played on here if you are Revenge Tour. So the fact that they pull out that first win here, Alan, I think does wonders for their mental, just knowing that they made a comeback like that, and maybe they had a slow start, but it's just so good vibes when you come back into it. But on the other side, Sucre's Bakery are like, how do we not win that map there, guys? And well,
yeah,
a simple answer to that is Denza. Denza just absolutely ran through you.
Wow. Well, let's take a look at the series. Again, if you're joining us here late, you messed up. You should have been here from the beginning. But Bakaj, map number 2, only one instance where either of these two teams have played this map. One each.
Right.
Should reframe that. Both of which were round 11. And it was largely all defensive affairs. There was not a lot of attacking wins on this map, but the meta has started to shift with, hopefully, what is going to be the inclusion of the silent plants coming through. That's, I think, going to put a lot more pressure on the defense to really kind of set yourself up for maybe early contests of either of these 2 bomb sites. Likely the one that's inside of Granny's, because that's the more common. Are we still figuring that a lot of this is going to be determined by SMGs, though? Or are you kind of looking to maybe see, again, keep riding the super train? Can he potentially take over a lane with an AR somewhere, whether it's offense or on defense, for Sucre's Bakery to get back in?
So I do think that individual battle will probably take place throughout this map to the field side and throughout the trench side, just specifically with Watson likely. But I do think the majority of everything that takes place specifically on this map, because Granny's is the bomb site that you basically are always looking to attack on the offense, it's probably still going to come a lot down to your subs. I think the biggest thing that this, you know, changes from the defensive side is you have to pick and choose your moments to play retake or to check the bomb, you know, a lot quicker, and you have to be a lot more decisive, because you no longer have the luxury of just waiting to say, listen, they're on the bomb, I'm going to go in and challenge because I know he's there. You don't know if he's there 100% of the time now. So we'll see if that does end up changing anything out, as it looks like everyone's been practicing their preset nades here, looking for some first bloods here off the rip.
Get your work in those custom games. A little bit of a spray down of the wall covering the A site as Sucre's Bakery start to make their approach. And Yako, I was going to say, he may get a little frisky backside water wheel here. Shoulder it for a second. Keza is in position to watch that, and, well, as Mythics finds first blood, now you kind of have to worry about, do you even have the numbers here? And Yako is hoping that those shutters were going to stay open, realizes that the window was closed. Not just for the shutters, but also the window to throw the nade also closed, metaphorically speaking. And as a trade comes out, 3v3v go, long play around the back, and no, Watson did not expect that. And look at that does the defense. It pushes them out, thinking it's going to be hit towards B, but they do lock down Yako on the back. Sucre should be a free kill. Can he get the second? Yes, he can. Beautiful little 1v2 moment as Sucre's Bakery take the opening attack.
Yeah, I like that offense, like, coming through off the rip here. The idea around it is you want to attack multiple lanes at once, which means that you have to have a lot of trust in your individual skill, which, of course, we know this team is more than capable of being able to live up to that expectation. But, you know, a big 1-on-1 over on the trench side ends up throwing the defense for, hey, are they actually going over to the other bomb side? Are they coming back to B? And just that little hesitation, that little question of what's actually happening on the map is what allows them to kind of set up that last couple kills there in the end. And Sucre with a nice snap on the second is going to make sure he comes out with 3 in the round. So maybe even implications for some early glide bombs in the mix as we go into round 2. This one looking a lot more aggressive, but no one's watching the window. And Eric Boom's going to be able to say hello with a little surprise for first blood.
This place up top, Manigans, is just, it's so difficult because of these little small angles. Keza against, yeah, cool, you shot Eric once. He's like, all right, bet, I'll just back away. It's just so hard to get through this particular area of the map. Although, man, if team shots were there, maybe. Watson's able to push him back again, but the offense still with a man disadvantage. Need to find an opening somewhere, and Mythics has found Eric on a weird rotational timing. Watson getting traded keeps the numbers advantage with the defenders.
Mythics, he's not looking to stop. He's now got a great position, and he's going to be able to get information on one more here, but he's not ready for the gunfight to come close left. So Yakko does find it, but this bomb is still going down. However, it's going to be all up to Keza to try to win out here in a 1 versus 3.
Oh, it's just Wolfpack mentality here for Sucre's Bakery. Yeah, not much that Keza could do besides trying to finesse some timings, maybe get someone off the defuse, line up a collat somewhere, but not going to happen. Good start here for Sucre's Bakery. 5 in a row, by the way, for Sucre himself, so the threat of major streak implications early is on the table, which is never great news, especially in a map like Bocage, because, let's be honest, a strafing run or a glide bomb can just give you free access to the B site.
And I will say, credit over to Sucre's Bakery for bouncing back. You know, after the map 1 win, it's never easy to lose a map that you probably should have won. And to come back in here with a fire for the first couple of rounds is certainly a start that you want to see here for this squad. And as you mentioned it, a glide can be very useful, specifically around that B site if you can get the bomb down or if you need to play retake. But that's the first blood there. An aggressive defense coming in, and Keza's got a lot of information here. And look at the team shots on Yakko. He's like, man, I'm just trying to get some information here and watch over my teammates, but it's not going to happen. So 4v3 early, but Eric Boom, he might have a chance at making a play.
Man, that's so surprising. First blood is so good for Revenge Tour, and Keza was forward almost all the way in towards Barn and gives up that position. Fortunately, Mythics was still playing forward at gate, and it does rely on another elimination coming out, but I was a bit surprised that they didn't just keep both SMGs playing forward, try to just take away space and force Sucre's Bakery with low numbers to have to win some very difficult trades. Oh, God. Oh, God! Forehead into the wall! Don't love it. But it still allows an opportunity for Sucre to get a 6. That is good for full streaks. So in my mind, go for it. See if you can pull off the 1v3.
Yeah, might as well. Nothing to lose right now. And won't be able to read the player. I believe that shot him in the back here as he tried to cross through the field in the tank. So finally, Revenge Tour able to get their very first round. And I think it just comes back to that opening like you touched on. Getting that first blood and just getting some of the early positions that Mythics was able to get inside of the barn. It really does kind of you really struggle to kind of get any kind of map control after that. Once you lose that barn power position, you have to use resources to regain map control, and it's never easy to do, and it's never something that you want to be doing on a map like Bocage. So 2-1, but Sucre does end up getting the full streaks, which is certainly going to be helpful going into these future rounds.
Quick take up the middle once again, though. SMG's not going to wait. Denza finds Yakko off the initial, and then Keza responds to Super. That is an unbelievable tempo change. But the thing about it is the bomb has still not made its way in towards A. Eric Boom on the outside isolates 1-1v1. Mythics thinking about trying to hit a quick timing. Sucre over the middle of the map gets a read onto 2 different players. The first being Watson, but fortunately Watson will be traded out by Denza, leaving everything onto the shoulders of Eric. 1v2. He's got good information here, and the timing of watching this cross is unbelievable. The thing about it is you can't take this fight with an SMG, and he will rethink his position as he moves on inside the Grannies.
40 seconds to work with the timing here from Eric. Oh my, trigger discipline. He sees both. He should know that Mythics is up top here. And there's the shots. And he already knows that the other player is likely going to the bomb. But is Eric Boom going to read another rotation?
Wow.
You're in this weird position where Denzel's like, do I plan it? He's going to pull the trigger. But Eric Boom, he has a chance at being able to pull off this 1v2. Gunfight comes in. Eric reads it for 3 kills in the round. That was a 2 versus 4, Alan, that they came back with.
That's an unbelievable setup. And largely, again, it's if Eric does not find that small window of timing when he's playing in the backside of the car, Main Street, and see both players cross, totally different situation, because he doesn't re-wrap back over to Grannies. He's kind of stuck in no man's land, and then the decision becomes very difficult. But once you know that they're trying to wrap back, it gets you into Grannies, and then once again, just the sacrifice, whatever he made to the COD gods this week is paying off, because he gets great timing as well, watching them make a play through tower. So timing is great, perfect execution of a 1v2 with the intel, and now up 3-1. I'm curious, does Sucre's Baker try to change the tempo in their own right here, try to get a bit aggressive? But nah, they're actually going to set up. This is going to be a glide bomb play for B, you have to imagine.
It very likely could be. Just, you know, you have Sucre over here searching for information. Guys, I don't see anything, and you called it. Let's use the glide bomb. should be able to potentially find a kill in the back, but he slips in, but not enough to get under cover. So Watson drops, but they do punish the aggressive plan to Super as the bomb's going down at B.
The bomb going down is enough, right? Yeah, it's a good exit, but I love this call. Try to stick. You got Mythics just floating around mid-map. Bomb nearly defused. Can Eric Boom get here in time? No, he cannot. Even though he probably would have gotten both kills right there. And that is a really good call for Revenge Tour. You obviously, like you mentioned, you get ripped off by the glide bomb early, but you at least able to keep it even on the trade, and then finding the quick exit, and largely just Mythics running circles mid-map gives you the idea that if there is going to be a challenge on this defuse, it's going to come from one direction. So good awareness for Revenge Tour keeping this tight.
3-2 here for us. And just utilizing the glide bomb, finding a kill, but being able to slightly recover. Good news right now. And now with this tempo change that we've kind of seen for the last couple of rounds, do Revenge Tour want to come in and see if they can just get aggressive and plant for the ace site, or do they just want to try to back up? And it looks like Watson tries to come over to the trench side, but Sucre has been able to find him. So now you've lost one of your key AR players. Eric Boom just going to do a couple of checks. He is one off of this glide, and he takes the gunfight head on Mythics. That's also going to be the bomb dropped, and Eric's not done. He's on 6 in a row.
I'm starting to get the feeling that we're going to have a copy-paste storyline of what we had in the hardpoint. That's full streaks for 2 players for Sucre's Bakery, and they're only up a round right now. And this one's not a for sure because it's Denza. This would be a 1v3 in technicality, 35 seconds to play with. We'll revisit that conversation about the streaks here in a moment while Denza tries to finesse around the back. The thing about this is he's going to have no intel whatsoever on where any of these players are. So he's going to have to clear everything. A difficult prospect, but he isolates the gunfight and wins that. Oh, but Super from the top window comes down and just fortunately enough gets the first couple of shots in, because there was nearly a gold, like, world star 180 turn on burner from Denza here.
Denza did that. This would have to be like one of the best series of his life with the way that he played the map number 1 and then 1v3s like that. But luckily, a fast trade comes in, no shot, no opportunity, and Super getting his first kill, being one of the most impactful ones to make sure that they do end up going up by a couple of rounds here. So Revenge Tour need to find a response, and they still got to try to worry about these next 2 streaks where Eric can use the glide for information, use it for a first blood potentially, but already some early control at the front of Granny's, looking at what could be an ace site, and Super just going to try to rush right in here with his teammate.
Revenge Tour is playing retake though the whole way through. Wait, no stun checks inside? A bit puzzling to be sure. They're hitting from multiple angles. Mythics catch up. Okay. About to say, that is a bold challenge with no stun checks coming in anywhere into arguably the most open space of Granny's, right through that mid-lobby area. But apparently, all they're going to do is just hit you from every single doorway twice over, and that's going to be good enough to just keep you on a swivel and reap the reward. So, again, big streak potential for Sucre's Bakery, but the margin stays within a single round. Revenge Tour doing everything they possibly can to stay in this map.
And let's see exactly what the play is going to be now. Just aggression last time around. Right into A. Denza takes the fight to Yakko, and he's already pushed at the back of Granny's. I mean, we're 15 seconds in the round, but multiple players are dropping, and now it's only going to be up to Denza, who found that kill. They have to know that he might be behind enemy lines here. He does have the bomb, but he's not going to be ready for the player that already knows he's in the back of the spawn. So a very fast round here, Alan, comes through for Sucre's Bakery.
And you have to win this next round, you feel like. Like, 2 strafing runs, a glide bomb. The 6th should be a guarantee. Now, if we go back and I cast or curse the living daylights out of this, I'll reconsider my career path, because there's no way that Sucre's Bakery loses this map. That round, I think, was a must-win for Revenge Tour. The tempo change definitely caught a bit off guard. Good set nades coming through. But on this offense, you got to get to be here. Glide bomb first, strafing run second, strafing run third. That should be more than enough time for you to get on without question. But Denza. That's it. That's the sentence.
Finds one. Glide doesn't actually end up getting any kind of a trade there. And now Watson gets the backup and defend B. You still have 3 players positioned inside of A. One's going to be watching that push through on the field side here. And you're getting down to about 55 seconds. Sucre, you feel like he's got to be the player to try to open this up.
The setup from Revenge Tour is brilliant, by the way. I'll revisit, but yes, you're right. Sucre has to open this up. Keza gets away. Sold his soul to the devil. Denza comes to make sure that the trade comes through. And now all of a sudden, Sucre's Bakery to 2v4. Not a lot of time. And now it's just down to Super. Has information on one that comes out the window. Second one he should have seen or gotten a call from a teammate as he was running away, as there was a second player down low. But time is a problem. You got to make a play for a plant.
Oh.
And okay, hold on.
He's got bomb.
1v2 has bomb. Thing is, you have no information on Watson or Mythics whatsoever anymore, although maybe he just saw him rotate into barn. You got to make a play for the plant, and that'll be the end. Here's the thing, though. Just quickly, Revenge Tour drop all of their ARs and put full sub pressure through gate because they know that glide bomb's going to get used.
Yes.
So get forward, take away gate, and then you can't push even if there's a kill with the glide bomb. That is a brilliant way to completely negate an entire streak, and now this becomes doable again.
It does become doable. I mean, just the ability to be able to also trade everyone in that setup in that situation here as well is promising, but now they have to do something on offense. What do they have in store for us here in round 10? Not sure if there's still going to be some streaks in play. I feel like there must be some strafing runs, but we'll see. Right at the front, Super uses the crack in the door, finds Keza, reading the second. Denza gets shrugged off the challenge. Super somehow still alive and escapes with his life here and puts his team in the man advantage.
That is unbelievable counter nade play from Sucre's Bakery. They read the chess game from the round before, counter out the speed by just tossing utility. Now it's on to Watson. Said it in the hard point. I'll say it again here. You may not have a lot of kills, but if you could find these 4, no one will care. Difficult to say the least, though. 1v4. Bomb obviously down right on towards the swamp side staircase. And not a lot of time here for Watson as he's not collected a kill yet.
Might be able to find this first one. If he decides to go inside of the site here. Spots out Super. And it still doesn't look like they've spotted him, but they might have now. Bomb's going to be picked up. 25 seconds. He's going to go searching for that kill up top. And, well, again, playing off the trades, playing off one another. Sucre's Bakery do close this map out. We'll see no round 11 on the Bocage S&D, and that is going to tie up the series here 1-1.
Yeah, it gets a little bit, bite your fingernails up to the bone, right?
Yeah, after map 1, yeah.
You survive through, well, especially after map 1. I really do have to give a lot of credit to Revenge Tour for that little change of pace, getting all 4 subs in the mix to get forward, deny not just space, but also potential kill out of that glide bomb. It really, really heads up play. And of course, it's Denza who makes that play happen. So yeah, I think that as far as Revenge Tour trying to fight back into a situation where they don't have an advantage, you're seeing the right plays come to life. Thing about it is, doesn't matter. End of the day, 1-1 map count, no matter how exciting the first map was, no matter how smart some of the plays were in the second, it still means that we've guaranteed a Tuscan control, but also a Tuscan hardpoint. That's really job done in a lot of respect for Revenge Tour because they love that map.
They do love that map, Alan. That is something that they'll try to get on as much as they possibly can in a best-of-5 series. Yeah. But first, we got to take a look at some of the replays that did pan out there for us through the map number 2 on the Bocage S&D. A lot of moments from Sucre. I mean, he ended with 14 kills here for us, Alan. He was just a huge part of getting some of those early streaks there for us off the rip that can definitely go a long way and did earn them a couple of kills here with that spree.
Yeah, and as much as the streaks themselves did not guarantee either of the rounds that they used the glide bombs, we didn't mention it, but the strafing run that gets called in near the end was actually another great way to counter the early pressure from Revenge Tour. The set nades that I mentioned towards the front doors of A, great. Lots of damage. It slowed Revenge Tour to a dead halt. And then immediately afterwards, the strafing run was called to push back everything. So even though the glide bombs found no success, the strafing run did play a bit of a difference maker late into this game. So yeah, early streaks. Anytime you can get streaks in Search and Destroy, you're going to be feeling great because the glide bomb, even if it doesn't find kills, it's essentially just a damaging UAV at worst, right? So you've got the ability to at least read information. So, even though there was not a full-on capitalization of those advantages, still the fact that you earn those tools gives you just a higher probability chance of taking the map, and that's largely what we get. So, yeah.
Largely what we got. That's what we get. And now we got a 1-1 series count, and we get to start, framing up this control where Sucre's Bakery, they have been flawless throughout this entire elite. They've been electric, especially when it comes to the Gavutu in particular, but they are still 1-0 on the Tuscan, so we'll see if they kind of have that same flair here on this map compared to their Gavutu, because what we do know is the fact that Revenge Tour have played all of their maps so far on this map mode combination here on Tuscan, so it will be a good look at what they're going to be able to do here for us. But we already talked about it. This one frames up a lot of, I think, of how the series could end up going, especially if Revenge Tour can stay as consistent as they have here on this map, and then potentially have an opportunity to close it out going in towards the Tuscan hardpoint too.
Do not sleep, audience at large, on this control map, not just because the wonderful statistics that Austin just brought through, but both teams very successful on setting up attacking halves, or sides rather, I should say, on both control maps that we've seen so far. I mean, for the side of Revenge Tour, we haven't seen them on Gavutu yet, but 3-1s and 3-0s have been the name of the game for both of these teams in control. So as much as I think a lot of us are going to be looking at this saying, this is just defensive warfare through and through, we'll just wait to watch until round 5. These are going to be some really interesting looks, because, you know, the thing about it is, and we went back through and we were kind of watching over some of the controls from last week, the EU mindset around how to play offense on control has definitely bled into the CDL, and I think you're going to see just an over kind of exfoliation of what was there last week showing up here in this matchup. I am really interested to see what these teams have in store for us on their attacks. Are there going to be any 4-man hits towards B? And if so, how do they utilize the power positions around that column hardpoint to make sure that they're zoning off spawns and putting a lot of pressure on the defense to make a call? So I'll be really curious, because I think there's going to be a lot of really cool offensive looks for both of these teams when we get into this match.
I think so too. I mean, when you have two really good control teams just going head to head and, you know, fighting one another, you always expect, you know, maybe something a little bit different to potentially come out here for us. That is something that, you know, I always love looking at when you have two really strong squads, whether that's S&D or control or even hardpoint. So I always like, if you do end up pulling out something a little bit different here, you're going to probably do it in the first couple of rounds, see if you can catch them off guard. And it's the same thing that we go back to when we saw, you know, during Cold War, when we had control in the mix too. It's like teams started to figure out ways, you know, as we got a little bit more into the game, on how to actually effectively approach the zones, and especially the unfavored ones. But we have to kind of take in, like, control hasn't really been out all that long. It's not like they've been playing this game mode right since the beginning of the game. It's only been the last couple of months, or rather the last month, that they've really had an opportunity to be able to kind of start to learn it, figure it out. What's the best way to really put ourselves in a spot where we can, you know, mess up the defense and see if we can try to get away with a tick on B and then transition over to A, because we know that's ultimately going to end up going over here. So it should be a good look here for us, Alan, but the series tied 1-1, and now we'll see how the Tuscan control ends up coming together and who's going to be able to take the series lead.
And I'm going to keep my eye on one player and one player only. Watson with a 0.32 KD in control in the first week. You got to have a good map here, brother. So we'll see. The Revenge Tour starting off on the offense, and Watson just making noise. He does get dealt with, but here comes the 3-man hit, and Eric Boom has read this. The stun comes through. Eric for the double. Eric for 3. Go back to spawn and try again.
Yeah, you're not hitting B off the rip, and now Yako's able to push up. I mean, no kills have even come through. That's finally the first and second, and it's in thanks of Denza. Mythic's also finding the third. Is going to slow things down defensively here for a moment, but that first tick of progress well on the way. Sukari with a big kill onto Watson is going to eliminate one of the ARs as they start to set up their retake on A.
That is just so damn good, brother. I mean, telling you, this subs players for Sukari's Bakery have so much pop-off potential, but, well, we told them to go to spawn and try again, and they have been more successful on their second effort, have Revenge Tour. So 3 in a row for Denza. A zone will add 60 seconds, and a nice little kill from Keza. Keeps a play around through the middle of the map, but as Super trades, now you've got to kind of take your time here if you're Revenge Tour to get something set up, because even though trades are coming to the middle of the map, it's not going to be good enough to get to those power positions that we really are looking for on this offense.
Nice bait and switch there. Denza, who started off that spree attacking A, has now just earned 5 in a row. Still only dying once, and he's going to find number 6. Unreal, so Denza might be able to get some work done in the back of the spawns right now of the side of Sukari's Bakery. You can see Yako, he's realizing, all right, I'm just going to have to hold my position, watch the flank for my teammates. You got 1:20 on the clock, and you got church control, and they're going to call on the streaks.
Risky call, but they do have a setup to push through this church to get back in the back, but they don't maybe read that Yako is in the back. Oh, no. Eric Boom to start. Yako possibly to finish. Denza on 7, though. has kept this play alive. Clock stalled. And Denza says, bring in the air support. Strafing run being called in. It's not going to likely find too much here. No, it will not. As Eric Boom is now making the player on the back, but they're stacking. First tick of progress is good. Second potentially on the way. Denza, finesse, good help from Watson. Now one more around the back, and Denza just playing a little cat and mouse with both of these two defenders, and eventually will be overwhelmed, leaving it to Keza to try to keep this offensive effort alive. Still tons of time on the clock. The problem is no offensive members will survive, and now Sucre's Bakery push up the map.
Yeah, this is the problem with offense at times, where you have to battle through some of these 50-yard line engagements before you even get close to the point. So you have to figure out where some of the players are set up defensively, and Yako is going to be in one of the more important positions, but he doesn't read the push in the back. He's got no one really watching that cross inside of radio, so you're going to lose one. 11 lives playing up against 7 now, getting a little low for the defense, but Eric needs to try to see if he can find a second, and he does, and he keeps the play alive.
Unbelievable display of patience from Eric Boom. So many players, I feel like, would just take that challenge. I got the first shots on him. Let me just go get him. But no, he just goes to the drop, waits for a bit of regen, secures the kill, turns it into 3 in a row. Now Yako, mid-map, gets a read with 6 seconds on the clock. That, yes, Revenge Tour are going to be trying to hit through Church. Yako in a position to also cut things off from radio. Super up top. The high ground control is unbelievable. And with no time remaining, Sucre's Bakery will quell all of the pressure that we saw from Denza and survive with their defensive round.
Oh, they sure will. And wow, comes back to just Eric here for us. Finding that 3-piece. He finds that first one, lays down, waits for the second, and then the patience to find the third. And once you lose 3 members like that with only 20 seconds left in the round, you only have one Hail Mary attempt to just rush in there and see if you can really come in like John Wick and take out the remaining 3 or 4 players. We have no idea where they're going to be. So nice first round, and now we'll switch sides. Watson with the stun is going to slow things down here on the attack, and Watson with the nade. The lethals and tacticals, but you haven't dealt with Super. He's been able to come out with a couple of his own, and he's going to push out and start to take away a bit of the map.
Heads up play here from Super, not only because he gets a chance to kind of zone off these reinforcements, but look how much utility he pulled. So now you've got a chance to hold on to this A zone with not a lot of incoming nades, but it doesn't make a difference. It was number 4 in red, Keza, that made the long pinch play to get 2, and that will clear the zone. But now, off the respawn, Sucre's Bakery looking to just take a quick flex back over to B, and they got to the zone, but that's about the only success you can really marginalize here, is that they got to the zone. Didn't do much with that as the kills continue to come through, and Revenge Tour now up 5 lives.
Up 5 lives, and the one thing you always have to kind of consider, when, especially when you're attacking B, is just those flanks. Up through this upper church hallway and in through that mid-cut. If you don't have anyone watching it, sometimes it's enough to cut off all of the remaining players trying to get to the zone here for us. But A is now going to be under attack. It looks like that first tick of progress will come in. Keza in the middle of the map. He doesn't want to make that move until his teammates get into a position where they can actually push through A long. But Super ends up finding 2. Super ends up finding 3. Takes down Denza, and he's going to start making his way over to B.
This guy's just a little different, man, I'm telling you. I mean, there were so many moments in week 1 in the Kabuto control where he just went off and single-handedly got Sucre's Bakery in a position to win a couple of different offenses. Now moving quickly off 4, looking for the streaks. Denied. Extra 60 seconds have been earned, and the kill lead has been marginalized just to 3. As Sucre's Bakery have the small advantage in the life count. Minute 30 on the clock, and the setup largely through P5. What is the hit going to be, though, from the middle of the map? You need to get some help here because the defense is so heavily stacked on the zone.
Yeah, they're playing really tight with one another so that they can always play off the trades. Eric, though, a chance if he can read the player in the back. Doesn't want to push all the way through. Instead, comes back through the church cut. Finds that first one, 3 in a row. Chance for another glide bomb to potentially come in. Shots due. Ends up taking up the player off spawn, but Eric, he knows that there's probably a player watching in the back, so now he's going to try to make this play happen. In from behind patio, but Mythic's there to be able to watch everyone, but it's Yako for 2 on the 4th spree, but Mythic's for 3. We'll shut it down and make sure no more glide bombs are in play just yet.
Yeah, don't sleep on this Mythic's character, my friends. He didn't get a lot of play time last year at the end of the year, but as recently turned 18, he has had a great opening elite stage in his young competitive career. More zone ability coming out of Revenge Tour as Denza furthers the pressure forward. And oh boy, he has in a position to potentially finesse for days back there. 30 seconds on the clock, 10v10. And the next hit, a full 4-man flood coming around the command center. Keza's read it.
Oh, Keza, though, can't get the gun up in time to find a kill. Mythics from the side, only there for one. 3 players going down, 4 players going down. 9 lives playing up against 6, and those are deep spawns in the field here. So Eric is going to be able to get the information, but he loses the gunfight. 17 seconds on the clock, and Super is on another 4 spree.
If he gets the glide bomb, you could still call this in just to secure a kill and potentially win this off of lives. Do you even need it? 5 in a row. Here comes maybe number 6 over the top of the L stairs on the backside. Super for the 6th. One more up top. Gets a read, but not the elimination. Clock still stalled. Sukri confirms the second tick of progress, and it all falls onto Watson. And he's not even going to get past the trailer truck. Sukri's Bakery come back into it. I mean, it didn't look good for a moment there. It looked like it was going to be Revenge Tour just zoning him off, and they capture A, they get back through, and Super again, why not? The player to open up space and eventually secure the round.
And there was a really small moment there from Eric where once they found 4 down, he sprinted to the back to see if he could block that spawn all the way on the defensive side. Yep. And once he blocks that, you spawn over in field and you have to decide, do we go through the back? Do we go through the church? So a nice play there from Eric. And now a 2-0 lead, pressure on Revenge Tour. Try to make something happen on the attack here. 3 players, that's how many it takes to take down Eric, and Keza will be able to find that trade as they'll try to make something happen here for a first tick on B.
1 for 1 is perfectly acceptable for Eric in that position, by the way. He gets to read on how many more numbers are going to be here. His team can start to rotate to make sure nobody gets in the power positions in the back, and then Denza is just dead man walking, essentially. Well, he wasn't walking, he was dead man standing, I guess. not nearly as impactful. Triggered his one for Mythics, while all the meanwhile, Watson is just chipping away at the progress at A, by the way. So any eliminations for Mythics are good when it comes to trying to extend this clock 60 seconds. And yeah, maybe one more chance for Sukri's Baker if they want to try to get some kills and try to re-challenge. If they can get this last kill on Adenza, it's possible to hold off. But no, with that elimination onto Yako, they'll chalk, rotate. It'll be 2 minutes and 13 seconds for Revenge Tour to try to extend this control.
All right, so that's 3 players going down. I want to see what they're going to do a little bit different. Last time, it was a huge part of just Denza getting into the back, which he is threatening there off screen on the minimap. But this now has allowed his teammates to be able to push up. They need to find this kill inside of Radio before they can get to Patio, but Eric Boom laying on the floor has found 2. Denza feels the need to make the solo play in the back as his teammates drop, and now 3 players going down. Mythics is just going to have to hold on to his life, see if he can win some gunfights, and how about those? That's a double, maybe even a triple. He was reading it. 3 in a row, a chance maybe for a glide bomb if he can find another 2.
He can't quite get fully away. Good elimination from the front for Sukri. And actually, Yako, who was hitting a pinch up top by Bunks, now can re-wrap and take a lot of forward pressure away from Revenge Tour. And there it is. 1 elimination. Backside rooftops. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know if either player knows what exactly is happening, but it's comedy on our screen. Cue the Benny Hill music as they continue to have a hard time locking one another down. Yako looking for the triple! What in the heavens is that from Mr. Yako SMG?
Oh man, Yako, he's in the back, and they can't even deal with them because they just want to try to get some progress on the map here and see if they can get to their teammates that are on the point, but Super is going to let off on the trigger. Mythics has just combined for 3 in a row. Keza gets the 4th. Revenge Tour, they are on the zone. They have got themselves a tick of progress, and now the streak's starting to rain on through as a couple kills do come back for Sukri's Bakery.
Oh boy, not looking good for Revenge Tour. Need a clean and convincing kill feed right here, right now. Yako, doesn't matter. Just get 1 for 1 from this position. Any kill's a good kill. But Denza does shut him down. And now Super's a bit isolated here. Hold on. Denza can get all the way around the back. The kills come through, and it is a clean kill feed. Sukri trying to get up top towards Patio. He gets red. Good back down from Watson, just making sure he keeps his life. 17 seconds on the clock. Here comes the full flood from the front. They're going to ignore Patio 100% completely. I don't necessarily love the call, and you see why. High ground, just such a controlling position over the top of the zone. Final kill from Sukri. And with 6 seconds, I don't think Revenge Tour are good here.
No, I don't think they'll even get a touch. There's no time on that clock, and everyone's now just going AFK in the back. And Sukri's Bakery, the best control team here in Europe, continuing to keep it going. They're showing us they can do it on Gavutu. They can do it on Tuscan. It does not matter what map it is. And just so many big moments that ended up coming through. I think there's just an understanding on how far they can push the limits here, Alan, whether that's pushing up, blocking the spawns, forcing the defense to not have a close spawn to be able to get right back in there and reinforce the point, or whether that's just taking the patient plays to be able to put themselves in positions where they wait for one another, they use their teamwork, they explode at the exact same time, attacking multiple different angles to retake the zone. I mean, it is really just so beautiful with the way that they've been playing a lot of these controls so far here in the Elite.
Number one for a reason. The stats don't have a lot of padding behind it, but hey, flawless through control, that will stay the case as we look back over some of the moments and how many multi-kills are we going to get in this replay highlight, because my goodness, it started off with this one from Eric. Unbelievable. That is a 1 versus 3 for him. And you mentioned it. Look how quickly they start to push forward. The kills traded from this position are super valuable. It's an early 5-life lead that would come back to help them in the end, as Revenge Tour did make a showing of the first round. And then this late offense you're about to see in this second round, it's just a super highlight reel. He gets them back over to A, and then at the very end of this round, he's the one that opens up the back to make sure they can rotate and actually get a look at the B zone, which eventually gets captured.
So many incredible moments. Denza for a couple kills. Super here, another spree going on in the back, and this is that moment where he finds number 6 with the movement. Denza can't trade him off spawn. Almost gets that 7th through, a chance to be able to get the gun up, but I mean, it is just perfect control being played across the board. And it's not even like there weren't moments where Revenge Tour, there certainly were, but it's these ones right here where Yakko goes 1 and then they need to find this trade and they don't, and it hurts them so much when they're trying to make those offensive plays happen. And when you lose 2 members and you're not finding those trades, it slows you down considerably. And a huge part of control is about how much time you have on the clock, and the less time you have, the less time you have to be able to start looking for these angles in these corners and where players are. You have to kind of just start sprinting to the point and hoping that you come up with gunfights, and it's never a position you want to be in. And it's something that we've seen Sucre's Bakery do multiple times, where they just force you into those positions.
Yeah, really good awareness from start to finish, even though they had never played Tuscan before, at least not in the Elite. I shouldn't say ever, but in the Elite.
Sure.
Unbelievable display throughout the defense and the offense. So with that, map 4 stays on Tuscan. Another map that we have not seen Sucre's Bakery play in the Elite stage as of yet. But for Revenge Tour, we framed this up at the top of the series. Map 3, map 4 should have been great news for Revenge Tour. You got your control pick, and you have your best hard point. Now, the control didn't go your way, obviously, but you've got to show us why this is your best Tuscan hard point map.
You have to. And, you know, there's no real status on how Sucre's Bakery is going to be on a Tuscan hardpoint. They haven't played it so far here in the Elite. Obviously, have scrimmed it a ton, but this will be one of their, first real attempts at being able to see if they have what it takes to go up against a team that has been really resilient on this Tuscan hardpoint. And, I mean, with the way that you have, like, these players and just who we have on the roster, I can't see them being a bad Tuscan team, Alan, when you have so much sub pressure, right? Like as much as they might not have any stats on it here so far for us, I'm feeling like a lot of them, just with the explosive plays that they have and just with the way that they're playing off of one another at the moment, I can't see them, being completely slapped around here by any means. This arguably could be a series that could already be done if they didn't end up choking in the very map number 1 here in the series. So, I mean, as long as you can do the same fundamentals that you did on the Berlin, except, if you have a lead, just close it out, I feel like they're going to be fine. But on the opposite note, Revenge Tour, they have to show us why they're 2-0 here on the Tuscan. They have to show us why they're one of these top teams that are 3-1, and both of them being at 3-1, we just already framed up at how important it is to have that 4-1 stat line to basically guarantee yourself a playoff spot here. So a lot of pressure on Revenge Tour to find themselves back in the series and see if they can get us to a map 5.
Yeah, you lose this one and you lose another one of your remaining 2 matches. It puts you maybe in head-to-head tiebreaker situations. Yeah, the win here would be a massive one, I think, for either of these 2 teams to essentially, like you mentioned, solidify their spot into the playoffs, which is really all you're fighting for here. Placement gets you seeding, sure, but it's a double elimination bracket. Hey, just get there, and then you square off from there.
Sure.
The thing is, as we look at not just the map 4, let's say Revenge Tour do come out and show us why they blow teams out on this map. If we get to Berlin for map number 5, throw all the statistics away.
Yeah,
because both teams have played that map a lot, and it's just going to be down to who is better in that moment, because really it's a 1-for-1 between both the teams. So for Revenge Tour, the path does not become any easier, obviously. Talking about the potential of them getting a map 4, map 5 win. Obviously, it has to start here, but you know, it's not like it's green pastures if you get through this Tusken hardpoint. So, yeah, I think all the things we framed up, it really does come to a culmination right here on map number 4. You have to be able to prove some sort of dominance in some fashion, because there has not been really any instances of that yet for Revenge Tour in this matchup.
And I think we really need to see Watson come out here in this map for us. I mean, with everything that we put into this player at the beginning of the series, when we were talking about this team as a whole, a lot of that success has been from Watson. And it feels like a huge reason they're even in this series right now is because of Denza, right? With a lot of his big plays, like if he didn't find 3 and 4 pieces there, like in the Berlin hardpoint, like would we even be going into a map number 4? So I'm looking at Watson to see if he can really come back into this one. I still think that Keza and Mythics, they've been holding their own, they've been consistent, they've been fine, but you need your main AR player to show us why this role is so important in Vanguard. And going up the likes of, you know, Sukri, who I feel like has been doing a pretty good matching him, see if you have the opportunity to be able to put him down and live up to this 1.28 KD that you have overall through all 3 game modes. But the majority of those KDs, they come from the respawns here. So I think we have to highlight him, Alan. We have to see him step up. If we're going to a map 5, I mean, it's got to be because of Watson.
I 100% agree with you. And if it's not going to be him, who? You can't just keep relying on Denza.
You can't.
That's really all it is. Someone else has to help him out. Man, what a series. Kind of looking over some of the other scores that are coming through just quickly as we're flying on in. Currently, Young Galactics are up 2-1 versus the Originals, although the Originals had won the control, so potential for reverse sweep in the cards there. Moneyform also up 2-1 versus United Nations, and then a 2-0 map count currently between TMT and Flux. That one is, you know, for United Nations and TMT, they have to essentially win out from here if they want to have a chance at any sort of a tiebreaker situation for top 4. So that's what's on the table for the other matches currently going on simultaneously. We've got a second match coming up after this, of course. Moneyform and Originals squared off to have a little bit of a pre-Valentine's date with one another. And here we go.
Here we go, Alan. This is the big one. Revenge Tour. Backs up against the wall. First kill comes through there for Mythics, but Eric already off to the fiery start that we're coming to expect. Oh, man, if he just 360s them like that. Maybe we are not seeing a map number 5, but that will be Sukari's Bakery. At least with the early hardpoint time, they'll come away with the first 15 seconds, but Revenge Tour right back with a response.
But even still, the counter break is not strong enough as of yet. Still contesting for it, but Super, as he drops, means, yes, Revenge Tour can finally get into this hard point. Yako saying, have it. I'm looking more towards the rotation. You know, he's caught with a nade, so Keza will actually not be affected by that. The gunfight needs to be won, and it does not come through. Keza turns it into a double. Good help from Mythics in the mix, and even though Sukri's Bakery is able to soak up some scrap time, look at the rotation. Already over to New is number 3. Sorry, I couldn't really see the number for a second. The Mythics already on the way.
Yep, good rotation. They equalize a lot of the time on P1, so this is still looking okay for Revenge Tour. Keza responsible for making sure that the back is completely locked down, and he will be able to lock on to the spawns for his team. But you have 3 players, maybe even all 4, looking to attack the back. He's got great help. This Tank Heady does wonders, but apparently so do Super and Eric, as they have flipped out the spawns, and now they can start to coordinate on top of the hard point, which Eric is already here, finding 2, but Mythics on the 4 spree, seeing if he can lock it down all by himself.
Yeah, great play out of Mythics. Last one in. Able to tally up a couple 4 in a row now, playing for streaks. But the next hit is not going to come for Sukri's Bakery. They're chalking and rotating again. Mid-map, Super is trying to lock down any lanes to get a read on where exactly this hit from Revenge Tour is coming from. And they may have gotten the information. It's all coming from the south side of the map. Sukri's Bakery setting up for this defense. Yako, first one forward. Yako's on the flank. Oh, no. This could get ugly quickly. But what a read from Mythics. Gets his 5th elimination. That's good enough for the glide bomb. And the rest of his teammates still spawning close will win the battle inside the back for P3. It's on Sukri's Bakery, needing to find a way to break.
Wow, scary moment here for Sukri's Bakery. I thought they were going to be able to hold on to the rotation with, you know, just the fast track on the rotation, giving up the scrap time, but it doesn't happen. And now this is where things do tend to get scary, but they're holding it from the front despite the close spawn. But that's until Mythics gets back into the hard point, and it's overall going to be a team nade from Keza that ends up taking him down. But with 20 seconds left, a couple more players going to try to send some numbers in. Not going to happen. One-on-one, and now it looks like they're going to be able to get the flip here as the scrap time secured, but a rotation now over to Church.
This is fine for Revenge Tour. You're up 72-30. take the scrap 15 seconds. We'll just lock ourselves up into church. The timing of this rotation is near perfect for the side of Revenge Tour. As much as the third hard point is difficult to break, a lot of teams are just happy to give up the scrap 15, 20 seconds to make sure you get a good setup here towards 4. Mythic still on one, 10 and 4. Oh my goodness. Talk about stepping up in a major time.
Yep, someone had to. And Mythics is doing it right now. 11 and 4. Almost has all the hard point time alongside Watson. Now Mythics seeing if he might be able to earn some more streaks. Overlap the glide potentially.
Holy.
Mythics on 4, spinning, doing circles. Movement out of this world, but now it's up to Watson, who's only able to combine for 1. Keza there with a second, and still looks like the hard point's up for grabs as Mythics comes right back off that spawn, wins another one-on-one gunfight, but Sukari will trade him out. 15 seconds to fight for, but Denza wants to make it his, and he'll find the double to do so.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can finesse this scrap time all day long if you find yourself needing to contest for the scrap, just due to the fact that the flow between 4 and 5 is pretty much 50-50, turns into a bit of a foot race. And initially, Revenge Tour is here first, but the kills are evenly exchanged. Yako trying to work with Sukri. Watson in some trouble. Beat down, not going to come off all the way. And a 4-man feed means that Sukri's Bakery a chance to soak up some significant time here in the command center.
And they need it. They need a lot of time here to see if they can mitigate a bit of the losses through the last 4 hills. And they've been doing a good job here so far. Nades need to come in for the side of Revenge Tour to play retake, but Yako with a nice read here through the middle cut will find 2, and now he might be able to put himself in a position top broken. See if he can cut off the players trying to rotate back off spawn. This has been a beautiful hold here so far. Sukari's Bakery getting a huge majority of the time, and Eric is still winning gunfights, has the assistance as he finds a second, but it's Keza that responds with 2, but not enough to take down 3. Super, the last one left alive, and he's holding on to the hard point.
Watch this position from Sukri. He's got the freedom to play as far forward as he wants because his teammates are rotating right side of the minimap to get over to the new hard point. He's just denying power positions from this position, and it's unbelievably well done. And as he gets the help, the nade will be sent forward to keep the pressure on. Hard point opens. Scrap turns into initial for Sukri's Bakery. 4 in a row is Super as well. Looking for a chance maybe to get some extra streaks as glide bombs are being called in. That one from Mythics initially. 3 for 1 the exchange. Still a couple of members of Sukri's Bakery that could challenge this. And they're actually going to try to hit one more pinch around the long flank. Yako for 1. Super through U-Haul. You got to go. There's not a lot of time to make this play happen, and, well, how about it? The ARs step up. Eric Boom for another double, and that'll be a break.
That was an incredible break. Super found that kill, and the player on the hard point had to back up from Revenge Tour to watch the pinch, and it never came in. He just simply waited, went back to mid, and they used the double team to be able to reinforce through U, and now they're starting to find these sprees. Super fully streaked out, trying to make the rotation over to the patio, but will be cut down. However, with the scrap time going over, Sukari's Bakery, they were down quite a bit of time going into the resets, and now they have a slight lead as they look at the rotation to do.
Good gunfight wins. This glide bomb really won't do too much. You get 1 kill from the front, and it does keep this, this plant in when it comes to Revenge Tour having to stay from the front. But look at the spawns. You Keza spawns in one direction, Mythics in the other, and they're able to recontest these backside spawns. Not enough to fully block nor win them, but it does alleviate some pressure as now Revenge Tour spawning mid-map. Have to make a decision with 35 seconds. Do we play for spawns, or do we just play to try to flood from the front? They're going to do the latter.
And 1 good hit. Can't give 30 seconds over for free. Keza for 1. Denza for a second, but it's Sukari from the back who can maybe actually start making the rotation. Look at the spawns. Rotational spawns have just came in, and you still have Sukari, who's going on another spree. 5 in a row, 1 off that strafing run, and you have player 5 on the other side of the map here, Yaku, who's cutting off the rotation if they decide to come to the money hill. So a very massive moment here for the side of Sukari's Bakery, and we'll see if they can actually lock down to this hard point, because if so, they could run away with this game.
It's not a bad idea to potentially use an early streak here.
Yeah.
Just to try to get a read on where this hit is coming from, but maybe Sukri has done that enough, and yeah, he's going to use this as kind of a counter to that. Good read on Watson, who will try to tuck himself into a corner, and then off the spawn, Sukri gets a double. So now Super pushes forward, playing off the monument. Not able to keep it completely clear, but the damage has been done, the space has been gained, and Revenge Tour, they've got 1 chance to break this for any sort of time.
Yeah, and it's got to be right here. Gunfights need to be won. Sukri with a pre-fire for 9 in a row. Denza shuts it down, wants to get into that hard point, but from behind, Super has made the right call to hit the pinch. And just about
They're late.
all of this time will go over pending what happens with Keza, as he's just going to be responsible for trying to get in there for remaining 8 seconds. He does win it, but it's fine because you are already across the map. Sukari's in position, and that might be spawns locked in here as the new hardpoint has just spawned.
Hot Hands Lounge doing everything they're supposed to be doing here. Sukari was not scouted on this back position. He can block spawns, if not just flat out win them, depending on how the kills go towards the hard point itself. Good challenge from Mythics. Now inside the hill we go. Eric Boom not able to stand tall. Last player is Sukari. He's got to come help, and whoa, that's a huge 3-for-2 exchange. The spawns are still good for right now for Sukari's Bakery, but the time is not, and you need to try to find a way to break on into this hill because Kez is zoning off one side, and you've got Denza zoning the other. And if Mythics is just able to play his life inside the hard point, he's going to do stuff like this. 4 in a row. Now turning his attention towards the back. He's gained some space, and Revenge Tour have done a phenomenal job of just bunkering into Church.
Yeah, bunkering and just finding the windows of timing to push out, and Mythics turns again. Does get that glide bomb before dropping, and then Keza, Watson, they clean up the rest of the players here for the side of Sukari's Bakery. So this is just about a full 60, Allen, on the Church Hill. From very difficult hill to hold, and they did it from the front. Unbelievable. 6 seconds now, the differential as we go to P5 and Revenge Tour. They get all of the 60 seconds on Church, and they're already here in the hill first on P5.
Massive win from Watson. Has to try to keep his life a little while longer, and he does slip to a different corner. Gets a read on Yako on the back staircase. Cannot finish eliminations, but help is here. Sukari's Bakery is still trying to force their way largely from the bottom floor of this building, but a team nade pretty much puts the question out of reach as now Mythics holds the corner. Good read, good kill. Eventually gets traded, and now it's down to the 50-50 foot race off spawn. Both teams trying to flood their way forward. Good kills from Sukari's Bakery, and they'll be the first ones to really get in again, as the break is going to be pretty convincing.
Yako from the back, 4 in a row. More streaks could be coming in. It might be a streak fest on this new hill, as it's going to be the rotation. And Yako's coming from the back here. They're getting the scrap time. This could be the glide, and there it is. Glide secured for Yako. 1 off the strafing run. You have zoning now from Church. You have a player on the hard point. You are still missing half of the team, but you at least have a couple players set up here as you're seeing the push come through Revenge Tour right through you on the hill.
Oh, big 1v1 from Mythics. That locks down these right-sided spawns, and it puts you in a potential position to zone forward with the kills, alleviating, like you mentioned, half of the team that was not here yet for Sukari's Bakery. 240, 213, pressure is good, but Super on the back gets read again by Mythics. The strafing run comes through, but it's not going to find anything besides Mythics off the point, and Revenge Tour, a huge stretch between the 5th and the 1st hard points, gets him into a solid position, and of course the 60 seconds nearly on P4. 250, 213, map 5 will be coming to us.
It sure will, and just what a back and forth hardpoint. It was the start of Revenge Tour that were up by 50 points going into the resets of the very first rotation, and then it comes all the way back to just 2 or 3 hills chained together from Sukari's Bakery, where it looks like they're going to run away with it, but Allen, it comes back to the Church Hill. The Church Hill that is not easy to hold. You have to watch a top floor, you have to watch, I think, 4 entry points on the first floor, and the way that they did it was instead of just kind of bunkering up at all times, they found windows of opportunities to be able to push out the side door, try to see if they could take away space, find a kill, run back in, and make sure that they're never getting traded. And that is really the reality of how you have to take that hill down when you're attacking it from the offensive side. You have to move in and try to hit multiple different doorways, and when you lose those individual gunfights, you never really get control of it, and that was really a huge part of why they held on to it that entire time, and then somehow got to P5 first after getting full 60 on Church. So yeah, that was an incredible run, and we see why they're now flawless on Tuscan Hardpoint.
Indeed we do, if not a bit more trepidatious in that showcase than what we had from before. And I still have to go back to how good was Mythics in so many of those key moments, because hey, our shining star of this whole series so far from Revenge Tour has been largely Denza, right? He was a kind of a non-factor through the first rotation and a half worth of hills. The fact that Mythic stepped up into that place to kind of remain as a major SMG, I mean, he's running kind of a flex role at the moment, but you'll look through the replays and you'll see a lot of Mythics and a lot of very key moments running that MP40. And how good is that timing-wise? Because there were some, again, major streaks being earned, not just in, tandem with one another, but sequentially throughout the entirety of this map for Sukari's Bakery. Just once again, the glide bombs, the strafing runs don't find as much value as I think you hope for, considering how many streaks were earned this map.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show too, like, playing for your streak sometimes for too long can end up giving the enemy team a lot of windows to get back in, because like you said, like, you sometimes don't find a lot of value with the streaks. There was a moment there where Sucre finds 2 and buys them time for P3, but a lot of the times you're not able to find more than 1 kill, or sometimes you go 1 for 1 with an enemy and a teammate, and if you're able to at least just continue to flood through mid, which is what they were allowed to do at the end, then you can just constantly get bodies on the hill, and that's just a huge part of Vanguard. You have close spawns. It doesn't feel like it takes that long to get back to the hard point, and there's a lot of moments where Revenge Tour just completely flood over and over again, doubling it through mid and defend off Sucre's Bakery. But we take a look at the map set here, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a fun series thus far, but we're not done. We still have to go to a second search and destroy. And Alan, that one, it's going to be all taking place on Berlin.
Bro, 3-1 on the map, our Revenge Tour. 3-0 on the map, our Sucre's Bakery. And there are round 11s on both sides that have had to be battled through. Also, there have been some convincing totals here or there on this map. Most recently for Sucre's Bakery, the last match they had at the end of their first week was versus Moneyform, and they put him into an absolute blender. 6-1 was the final tally there. But for Revenge Tour, some, these maps have been a little bit scrappy. Round 11 versus TMT, don't love to see that. Round 10 versus the Originals, all right, credit where credit is due. Round 10 lost to Young Galactic, and they also have a beatdown on United Nations in their own right. So, look, just throw out all the statistics. I would say sit back and enjoy, but sit forward, inch up a little bit, get into your monitors. This is about to be unreal. And the question will be, in shoutouts to Proper, he was kind of mentioning this, Sucre's Bakery will kind of flex where they put their sniper rifle depending on what half they start on, what side they start on. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see, will they use it both on defense and offense? And if so, who's going to be wielding the boomstick?
Well, we always love to know who's bringing out the boomstick here for us, and if they're exchanging it through multiple players on the side of Sucre's Bakery, well, we are certainly here for it. But here we go, right into round number 1, attacking first, Sucre's Bakery. How about an early shot, but Mythics has the gun up and wins the battle. Sniper down now with the side of Sucre's Bakery.
Oh, and then getting away. Wow, okay. Interesting setup here for Revenge Tour. You get first blood, and they try to quickly take mid-map, thinking that angle wasn't going to be watched again. Mythics gets the kill on Eric Boom, who does get the bomb planted. 1v1 around the back. Super. A little bit of help. Team shots come through. And now a 1v2 for Watson. He has been not in week 1 form in this series. Better map 4 from him. Okay map 3, but need to see something from the kid here. Nade gets cooked. I think he was really sure where he wanted to throw that. Stun now comes through. That also does not tag, and then 1v1 at range with Super. Not going to go his way. Sucre's Bakery win the opener.
I love that just adjustment too, right? Where it's like, listen, Watson's the last one left alive. You probably have a read on him that typically likes to play, through that A site. You need someone to kind of with an AR to watch over it from afar at times. And well, they have the reads correctly. They switch that side of the map. They play for the post plant on the defensive side, and it works out here quite nicely. And Super 3 kills here in that very first initial round. But now we switch things up, maybe a little bit of a switch on the sniper rifle as well, since they like to go back and forth on offense and defense. But this one, it's going to be a full-on brawl, Alan. Everyone's matching everyone inside of the site. It's Denza for the first one, but Eric gets all 3 kills, and that stops the push. This round is likely over. Sucre just needs one more, and there it is. What a read from Sucre's Bakery.
Man, do we get man, we only get the final kills. Imagine seeing that in slow motion, the 1v3 on site. Oh, that would have been sick. But the thing is, you mentioned it, you look at the setup and you go, oh boy, it's a 3v4 on the A site. And Eric taking 3 and Super staying alive through that round has him also on 3. So, I mean, again, Sucre's Bakery, same ideal start on this map 5 as it was on map 2. You've got early streak potential on a multitude of players. And while Sucre also gets a read with, again, another unorthodoxical position to snipe from, he gets a read that there is a player forward onto A. Would not be surprised to see Sucre's Baker try to feel things out towards the B site with that intel.
Denza with the scope on the other side. Along the river, defensively, as we would typically see it. I'm trying to cut off that cross to B, but you can also find some angles through mid, and through that P5 area there are broken. But Super has been taken and will be eliminated. So 3v4, Sukari's Bakery on the attack. They have not committed to either bomb site, but they do have a bit of information with the help of the scope there from Sukari. And now Yako with the bomb. They're going to try to make a play through mid.
They're going to pinch this through the side doors. They know a player is forward, but maybe they don't expect Watson to be that far forward. And Keza gets a read on Yako. This has now become a nearly impossible situation. Eric, you're going to go for this on 3. Okay. And wait a second. He may find some more blessed timing. No, he's just hunting for kills. So you'll back up towards the back. No chance to get this bomb, really. Just looking for a free kill to put him on 4. And likely just play his life from here on out.
That should be the play. It's the correct call. Glides are so impactful on Berlin. Offense or defense, anything around that B site, you can stuff a push or you can open up a kill to be able to get that bomb down. So it's just all about earning it. But I mean, at the same time, Eric was in a 1v3, so probably wouldn't have happened either way. But if you can get those 2 additional kills here, going to put them in a pretty good spot. And that's also coming back off of Sukari's Bakery in the map number 2, where they got like 4 sets of streaks in that
full
S&D.
streaks too,
yeah, exactly. So lots of streaks in play there in the map number 2 on the Bocage. We'll see if more come into play on the Berlin. And so switch things up and get to who else is switching things up here. I think Revenge Tour are like, all right, let's try our hand over on B. And Eric says, that's fine, because we're reading it like a book as he finds first blood.
I don't understand. Revenge Tours, this is obviously a premeditated setup. They don't throw any nades to this little trailer truck. None. No stuns, no nades. And it allows Eric Boom to just kind of walk forward freely into mailroom. And even though this bomb will be planted, actually, Watson's making a huge heads-up play. They're going to set up their post plant through the defensive side of the spawn. So now 4 in a row for Eric, and no one's going to know that Watson's playing so far deep into lobby. He can watch this entire cross and give Denza the heads up.
That's right. Denza just needs to play his life. Dodge out on nades, dodge out on stuns if there's any left here. And Watson now going to start to inch up. Sukari needs to win this battle, and he can't. They know where Watson is, and now Denza left alone in the site. Eric is 1 off of that glide. He takes the gunfight, but Denza holds his ground inside of B, finds the 1-on-1 gunfight, and Revenge Tour, they'll tie us up with back-to-back rounds.
That's a huge heads-up play. As much as I'm going to, criticize the opening for Revenge Tour, not getting good set nades down to give yourself space to get that full flood, the fact that they do get the read that defensively Sukari's Bakery is heavily invested into this mailroom play allows Watson a chance to push through the bomb site, run up docks, get into back lobby, and watch the cross the whole way through. So a good correction and adjustment off of the read from Revenge Tour. Just hoping for a little bit more polish, because these are the nades that we're talking about, by the way. Get them over the top. Those will land right in between the front doors at B and that truck, which is exactly what you want. So smoke comes through. That'll allow a chance for Yako to get on towards site, but Mythics is already here to challenge him.
Yeah, Yako's alone, so there's no one here to get this trade, and you lose the bomb if Mythics finds this gunfight. So we'll see if someone decides to come over and retake with him. But for now, the pressure on Mythics to shut down the play all by himself. I don't know if he got a glimpse of the gun there. Doesn't look like it. Now the shots come through. Mythics is tagged. Yako with the peek, and he wins the 1-on-1. B is now open. No one's in position, and the bomb's going to go down.
Thing about it is Revenge Tour is also simultaneously taking map positioning of their own. They get through mail and they clear it. And number 8 in Keza is on a route to potentially shut down Sukari, and he will. So no post plant through the warehouse. It's all down to Sukari's Bakery with these last 2 members just to hold on from the front. Yako gets 1. Eric with the trigger discipline finds the second, and it's now just down to Keza. 1v2, and he's been zoned on this flank. Maybe a little bit too slow to make his play forward. And Eric Boom will collect the final kill. What a good 2v3 setup there to finish things off for Sukari's Bakery.
You have to just praise the player that plays inside of the site, and this round it's Yako. Not only is he responsible for winning out on that 1-on-1 battle to even have an opportunity at getting that bomb down, but he also plays his life to the point where he comes and wraps around the site, sneaks his way out of the building, finds a 1-on-1 gunfight. Eric is there to watch over him and finds the second, and then all of a sudden that 3v2 turns into a very fast 1v2 for the remaining player here for Revenge Tour. So very nice coordination, a lot of it here because of Yako. And now 3-2, Sukari's Bakery taking the lead. And Revenge Tour, they're trying to try A again, but this time, Alan, they're going to take it a little slower.
The thing about this is Revenge Tour have made noise towards B. Super is pushed to get the first kill, and they are going to get this plant off. Sukari is not in a position to get the initial challenge, trying to take away the train station. Doors open. Sees Mythics. Good elimination. So now it's just down to one as Super, in the same moment, was able to find Keza mid-map. It's down to Watson. He's got a post plant to play off of. The problem is he's got players on his flank. And, I will say this much. I actually like that setup for Revenge Tour. The problem is Super hits an incredible first opening snipe from across the map on the other side. The nade spam that was thrown that direction doesn't really pull the defense because of that counter snipe that comes in. And Sucre's Bakery then just gets a read saying, oh, okay, wait, they're just going to plant it A. We've got enough numbers to not only watch the middle of the map, but play off the flank and retake with ease. So it's just good shots from the sniper rifle of Super, really.
Yeah, it's that, and I definitely think it's also just for the simple fact that Sucre stays alive, throughout the entire time while he's just laying down in the site. So, like, a huge part of it is like the difficulty of being able to make sure you're not putting yourself in a position where you're lining up the enemy team to be able to take some shots on you through the windows, but also making sure you clear out the site. And Sucre makes great work of it. 4v2, or 4-2 rather, in the scoreline, as we'll see Yakko waiting for a little battle here on the stairs. Good assistance. Another player, and Yakko gets 2. That's going to slow things down considerably now for the defense here on Revenge Tour. 1 off on the glide bomb is going to be Yakko. They haven't even committed to a bomb site, but they are now rotating over to A, where this should be a free plant unless Watson can find the kill.
He may get across on Sucre. That pushes him up, but he does not find the elimination. But watch what that does. It frees Mythics to now hit a bit of a flank on the back. And if his timing is good, he may catch the bomb carrier right here. Awkward point of contact, and Sucre doesn't even need the bullets. Just takes the back of the gun and beats down Mythics. But Watson with the read. Super doing the same, though, with this scope. Yeah, they've seen him. So Sucre knows it's not safe to plant. Play for the elimination. Watson, again, has slipped through. More damage, but no kills. How often is that going to happen for the young man? It's unfortunate. And Sucre's Bakery with the numbers now 5-2 up in the map 5.
5-2. I mean, this is 3 rounds in a row, and it's just such a flexible playstyle, I feel like, is the best way to really put it, where you have multiple players that can pull out the scope. You have multiple ways to be able to shut down a lot of these attacking rounds from Revenge Tour that have been with aggression or with patience, getting a player just sneaking into A, playing his life. They go for the plant, they don't clear the site, or it's just pure brute force. So you have a lot of different playstyles here in the repertoire for the side of Sucre's Bakery, and they have taken full advantage of it. But this time around, it is going to be a hit over to B. Nobody has went here. It was a blind counter call, but that's fine because they're going to call on the glide. Yakko might be able to find a kill, but at the very least gets the information.
Yeah, the 3-man stack over towards the A site will definitely tell you defensively they're planning on using a glide bomb, but surviving through it and then immediately committing to get the plant off. It's a good read, knowing that for Revenge Tour, hey, they probably stacked over towards A. So why not get this bomb down quickly? The problem is Eric just walks through mid-map. No one's watching that cross whatsoever. Keza still in mailroom, could potentially foil some of this retake potential, but look how far forward Sucre's Bakery are. They're challenging post-plant positions. They're challenging the bomb site, but they aren't able to find the kills. So it's a lot of good, not amounting into what is the most important thing, which is this 6th round win. Super, pistol, no. Just down to Sucre. 1v3, not a lot of time. And, yep, go take a swim.
All right, good round here for Revenge Tour, and I mean, it comes down to just the fact that Sucre's Bakery, they're just making the call saying, listen, if they go 4A, we are, all 4 of us are here to match it, and typically you're not going to have all 4 players in offense run right into the site, so you probably have a numbers advantage if they do end up battling you there right off the start. And then they call in the glide bomb. It doesn't find value, gets them the information, but the problem is that they just don't have anyone in position at that point to be able to cut them back off at the cross. A couple sniper shots I think were also missed, but Revenge Tour, they're still alive. They're still doing it. And over to the defense where it feels like Denza is going to bring up the scope here for us if they decide to come over to B. But I think multiple rounds now, Alan. Sucre's Bakery, they played it slow, and they haven't committed to a bomb site off the bat.
Keza pushes back the initial look towards A, so no information that Watson once again is playing bottom pillars. Nice shot coming through. You got to play for that trade if you're Mythics. He's 1 HP. No, he's not. Wow, he's 76 HP. Hello? Stuns would do more damage to him, it feels like.
Not wrong.
So now Yakko from the front. Again, this is all just a show of force. This is not at all where the bomb is planted. And good for Mythics to tally the first. Watson still playing outside. This is a solo effort from Sucre. And Watson thinks this is a play towards B. He's trying to cut off the long side through train yard, and that leaves A completely vacant. The only good thing about this revenge tour is that Watson is in an unknown position and could surprise a post plant, as the bomb likely will be planted, and it is here today.
Eric, he could get caught back on this cross here, and Watson
no
now
idea.
gets the information. So yeah, they don't know that Watson is all the way at the back. It's going to be up to Eric to make sure that he's responsible for cutting down this flank, but Watson might be able to flood all the way in, but there's the timing. Watson's found the kill. 30 seconds left to play retake, 2 versus 2.
Mythics needs to get one here. Doesn't matter if he gets both. Just need to get Super out of this position. He's finessing his life.
No.
Wait, Watson isn't hitting the flank. He's coming back to help from the front. That's going to allow Sukri a chance to retreat back to the safe staircase. Super has killed off so much time, and another member. It's all down to Watson. 1v2, no! Turned on as the MP40 gets picked up, and Sukri's Bakery take the map 5-6-3 and move to 4-1 in the standings.
Oh, what a pivotal win. Sukri's Bakery, man. When it comes to S&D, when it comes to some of these map 5s, you can rely on this roster. You can rely on this team. And we get to see it there from every single member. It wasn't just, one person that was having a pop-off there for us, Alan. It was everyone stepping up at different moments, at different times. And I just love the flexibility in S&D where they're attacking multiple different sites. They're playing patient off the start. They're throwing baits over to, a different bomb site that they're not even interested in hitting. And that kind of diversity, that kind of play calling and shot calling is what makes you a really good search and destroy team. And it makes you very difficult to predict what they're going to do. And I feel like those are the best S&D teams. So very well played there from Sukri's Bakery, being able to close that out.
That is huge for what it means for the standings and what is now likely a cemented playoff guarantee for the side of Sukri's Bakery. Don't want to give that a full force value because there are still multiple tiebreaker situations that could happen, but getting to 4 wins early is massive, considering that you don't have to worry about the other 2 teams on the bottom side that usually are there. It's top 4 or bust. On the other side, for Revenge Tour, that makes things a little bit interesting because you still have a couple of opponents that you need to get wins versus if you're going to also lock in a position through playoffs. So we look at our schedule here through our first series, and how about the potential of what's to come up next? Sukri's Bakery, as mentioned, map 5 versus Revenge Tour. That puts him to 4-1. Moneyform found a 3-1 win versus United Nations, but the Originals versus Young Galactics lost in 4. So now the Originals, who is the kind of odd man out, have to win at least 2 of their next. Well, wait, they need to win their next 2 matches. There's no more 2 of 3. You have to win this match you got coming up versus Moneyform, who is looking like potentially the best team in Europe right now.
They are looking extremely solid. I mean, with their performances that we've been seeing as of late, just with a lot of the players that we've been talking up here for a long time now at 3-1 Moneyform. I mean, they're one of those squads that are not going to be easy to beat, but it's now necessary. And for the Originals, you look at some of these guys and we said, listen, everyone's going to have to step up here for us. We're looking at Furious as someone that could maybe lead the charge, but we need everyone firing on all cylinders if you're going to be able to take a team like this down. It's got to come through consistency. It's got to come through multiple game modes. You can't just rely on one. So we'll see if they have what it takes to take down one of the juggernauts here in Europe.
That's a beautiful little teaser of the main course to come here for Europe. We'll step away, small break. Let the maps come on through. We'll give you the full frame up, the full setup, and maybe another full 5 maps. Who knows? We'll find out when we come back after this. This is EU Challengers. Welcome back, everybody. We're through the first slot of European action here in the third day of the round robin group phase. My whole shift with me, Visions. And now we've got a really interesting finishing match here to close out the day. We've got a must-win situation for the Originals, and they're going up against arguably the best team in Europe coming off of their Cup 5 win. It's Moneyform on the other side. Austin, man, this is a tough one to frame up just because the Originals, they came off of their loss to Young Galactics, and it means that they have to win this matchup and win their one game that they have to play tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a tall order, right? You have to be able to win from here on out. Already losing out on the first one, doesn't obviously put you in the best position. So, I mean, this is, must win, as we just said here for ourselves. So we have to see every single one of these players step up. I think there's a lot of names on this roster that we have seen individual moments from, right? But, can they all four be dependable when you need them to be? Those are kind of the questions that we're framing up going into this one.
We'll dig into it. Let's take a look to see how the standings are currently looking after the first match in series from today. Still 3 teams at now 4-1, which pretty much gives them a guarantee that they will at least be in some contention for playoffs, whether that be a full-on lock-in or a head-to-head tiebreaker situation. TMT at 2-3, the Originals at 2-3. Those are the ones that have a lot on the line, and then Revenge Tour coming off of their loss are no longer safe. But for TMT and the Originals, the interesting thing is I'm kind of looking at the standings and their schedules. Both teams have to win this upcoming matchup to get to 3-3, and then they would play each other tomorrow for potentially a tiebreaker situation of who could be in the top 4. It's still a tough prospect. That's the real thing about it is, hey, first and foremost, for the Originals going up against the currently 3rd place, have to win this one first before you can even think about tomorrow.
You have to win this one first, but I mean, how fun would that be if both do end up winning their matches, right? Like, seeing it for tomorrow, you don't know who's going to be able to make it in potentially in some of those last spots. So definitely it could be a fun time, but you still got to get through this one. They both got to get through this series right off the bat here. And, there's a lot of things that are going on through multiple different game modes that we were kind of talking up here for these guys. It's just a matter of, can they actually do that against a Moneyform team that has been so electric, like all of these names from last year. Like, they're some of the best that we have, and you take a look at one of these team profiles and here it is. Like, these guys have been so strong. Weeman has a 1.07 overall KD. He's been stepping up big, but the problem that we know with this team at the moment here, Alan, has been the S&Ds, but a lot of them have been very close. It's just a matter of really closing out those maps.
Yeah, a couple of instances where we, like I mentioned in the statistics right there, round 10 or round 11 in 3 of their 4 losses. So that's kind of what's on the table as far as the map series set would be concerned. But how about Vortex? Just to kind of talk this roster a bit more. I mean, how about him? We only talk about this guy maybe 17 times per broadcast, but rightfully so. He's currently one of the highest Slayer ratings in Europe, kind of talking kill efficiency and total volume of kills, 87.7, which is very high. But also Beans, who we kind of questioned going into the first week, saying, hey, you're fulfilling a 4th man slot where we already know what we're getting out of the other 3. Can you stay consistent from Cold War into Vanguard? He has said yes, and he is fulfilling that 4th man position without a doubt very solidly. Now, on the other form, for Originals, here's the thing about this. This team kind of snuck in, and they had been looking really solid kind of through the Cup phase, but this Originals team is really not getting, like you had mentioned, just full value team pressure. Furious currently is doing, fine in each and every single mode, but I'm more looking kind of at Nile, who at the moment is the bottom 2 in overall Europe KD after the first week. That has to improve if you're going to find a way to beat Moneyform here.
Well, it has to, too, because you're going up against the likes of people like Vortex, like Beans, that are always in your face, are really good at working off of one another. And if you're not finding trades, if you're not finding kills or getting these openings, then a team like Moneyform is going to punish you for it. So I think we need to see something from Nile. I mean, it's just unacceptable to be at the bottom. We're putting a lot of pressure on him, but rightly so, because his teammates have at least been up there hovering around 1.0. Furious, I think, again, has been one of the standouts here overall. He's been pretty solid through just about every single game mode here for us on the Originals, but we got to see if Nile's going to be able to step up to the plate here for us, Alan, because you need him now more than ever when you're 2-3 down and you're going up against one of the stack squads here in Europe.
Especially in Respawn. Have to be better in control.
Yes.
And you need to find a way to take a map in hardpoint somewhere. We'll, of course, talk more about that once we know what the map set exactly is. But for both of these teams, you kind of look at what this head-to-head offers, And yeah, we kind of touched on it. 3 of the 4 Search and Destroy losses for Money Form came in round 10 or later. You have to close out Search and Destroys. And as we now take a look at what our series layout contains, it's 3 Tuskens off the rip. Not really any favorable stats towards either team, largely for my liking. I mean, we haven't really seen a lot of Tusken Search and Destroy from either of these 2 teams. Both have enjoyed playing the Tusken Control, but it's only Money Form who have had success. And then this opening hardpoint, again, the stats aren't really significantly leaning one way or the other. So I think the biggest thing is you kind of frame this from a more general point. It doesn't really necessarily mean, you know, one map mode combo has to be yours, but I think in the long run, you look at kind of the overall of these 2 teams. Got to be better in control of your originals. You need more help out of players like Nile. On the other form, for Money Form, keep staying consistent as much as you possibly can and close out Search and Destroys. That's kind of where I'm looking at for both of these 2 teams going into the series.
Yeah, me too. I do think that Money Form are 1-0, I think, in the hardpoint, and then 2-0 in the control on this Tusken map. So that could be maybe the good news here, but you don't have a large sample size. So it could have just been one of those things where both teams were just vetoing out the maps that they didn't like, and they both kind of just handshake and just kind of settled for the Tuskens here. So it should be an interesting look, but you know, again, I think Originals just coming out here, setting the pace, setting the tempo, because when we were watching over, you know, some of the gameplay from last week through the Search and Destroys, we could see glimpses of really good moments. You know, a lot of what we got to see today, it felt like in our last series, well, there was bait plays happening, there was big SMG openings with the likes of a sniper coming into play. I was actually very on board with this team, and I was obviously talking a lot about Rafi and Brad as people I think that can step up multiple times in the Search and Destroys. But, you know, are you going to be able to come in and shut down the likes of a team that is just such a well-oiled machine? I mean, you have so much synergy on this roster coming up from last year, and you have so much veteranship. Like, I think people tend to forget that Vortex has been around now for I don't know how many years. I'm also losing count, and years. He's been playing, you know, in the challenger scene for such a long time after being at the top, you know, at certain points, and, you know, wants to try to obviously get back up there. And he's been one of the most consistent placing challenger players, period, throughout the last couple of years since the CDL franchise. So, you know, you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of trust, and that goes a really long way, especially in these tight matches where you know you need to get the win to be able to clinch a playoff spot here, and putting yourself up 5-1 is obviously going to for sure do that.
Yeah, very solid call. Man, this Tusken hardpoint. Both teams, as I'm kind of looking over the other statistics, just on the day, they both played this map in map number 1 in their opening series. Tusken, for Money Form, was a 250 to 198 win versus United Nations. Where on the other front, for the Originals, they fought versus Young Galactics on this map. They lost the map, but it was 210-250. So, must mean that there's some pretty good stuff going on the map for them. Has to show up, though, immediately. You cannot start off slow versus this Money Form team. You let Vortex get into those high kill thresholds, it's not likely that you're going to come away with the series. If he can find a high volume of engagements, even if he's not necessarily winning them all convincingly, but if he gets involved on rotation, on breaks, zoning off hardpoint setups, life becomes super difficult for this, you feel like would come for this Originals team. You also got to keep in mind that, hey, in the recent cup, Money Form beat this Originals team in round 1. So there is some recency of these 2 teams playing with one another as well, which I think is also kind of important for this series and maybe why we're seeing the maps that we're currently seeing.
It really can be. When you go over a series like that, especially a pivotal one that was critical and whether or not you were going to survive and continue through the tournament or not, you get to go back and at least review potentially, you know, what was going wrong, what were they doing, what was the map sets looking like in that series compared to now, where we can say, listen, this is where we think we're going to find, you know, potentially an advantage or a bit of an edge over them to come into this one and see if we have what it takes to be able to more or less, you know, upset a team that has been at the top of Europe here so far in a lot of the elites and so far in a lot of the cups. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy task, but it's definitely doable. And you do have to feel like at least a lot of that knowledge that you've already gained is going to go, you know, a bit of ways for as far as being able to take these guys down again. It's just, you know, bringing up the conversation of, you know, is this going to be the Furious show, or are we going to get other people in the mix? Because, like, I think as much as we know we hit this point a lot with consistency in Call of Duty, it's important, and all these things. I mean, it is important because Money Form are one of the most consistent teams across the board, where every single one of these players has over a 1.0 overall KD, which means that they're pulling their weight, they're getting kills, they're going big when they have to, and there's definitely some players that are stepping up in other game modes, and you have that kind of trade-off back and forth through a best of 5, which is the perfect dynamic for a team here. So, I mean, you have to kind of bring that into question here for the Originals on if they can do that consistently.
And, you know, we've talked about Furious, we talked about Nile, but Grad and Raffi did have really solid years last year to really kind of cement their position as, yes, these guys do belong on top 8, top 6 teams in Europe. But when you try to kind of get the hurdle over the obstacle of top 4, top 2, which is really the goal, right? At the end of the day, you know, get to playoffs and then try to win. You need to see, I think, just more pop-off and all-star potential from somebody on this roster that's not Furious. Because Furious has provided opportunities and looks to say, yeah, he's got the opportunity to really kind of pop and be a leader for this, whatever team he finds himself on. But Grad and Raffi, who have been kind of a collective duo now over the course of the last year and a half, need to see them start carrying, I think, more favor in towards top-tier potential. That's the biggest thing, because contesting and being a contender is great, but you got to start finding ways to win, you feel like, because let's be honest, the lifeline in challengers is marginal. You know, your whole goal is to get to the CDL. You got to show us something in these elite stages, and that's another kind of point to bring up for that long time standing duo.
Well, we'll get to see it here, Alan, as once again we got Quentin Johnson and Shane Ard taking us through the action, driving us through the entire series. And as we get into it, already the Originals off to a decent start, winning a couple of the opening engagements, and we'll be able to get on the hill time first.
From the favored side, you expect them to use lockdown power positions over the top of this hard point. Raffi, good read onto Beans, gets elimination. Help is now here. Furious, the one trying to aid and assist, but how about the kills coming through cleanly on the rebreak for Moneyform? And that will allow them a chance to get some significant time here as they also make sure nobody rotates through to set themselves up for P2 eventually.
Yeah, scary moment. 15 seconds. If you win these battles and come in for the time, then it's at least decent. You're going to be able to hold on to a marginal lead. But that 1v1 off screen there from Steve-O, Vortex taking him down. He will be able to continue to apply the pressure as Beans has the cutoff from Radio. He's going to back up, throw himself on the moment now for Moneyform as they have control and they have players on patio.
Need to see this push through mid-map actually start finding some success for the Originals. They're really not going to be playing through the back of the map, which is a bit puzzling. You got Steve in a position to lock down the tank. Although, hit from behind, Furious will find the kill now, putting the pressure onto Harry to pick this up. Good for the first, wants the second, but denied. Furious, again, how good has he been in this series? You get your answer quickly as he gets on to 3 in a row, and with that, the spawns will flip as they try to break.
Moneyform, 20 points, but Furious, chance for streaks. Oh, he rushes in with the hip fire. Critical moment, but still needs to come up with one more, and he gets assistance from Raffi, who clears 2 off the hard point. So big moments. Glide is going to be big sign to be able to at least nullify this lead a little bit and get back in the game.
Really good break for Furious. Streaks, do you maybe try to use them early to help you out in rotation here? Because you're a little bit stuck at the moment. These nades are a bit desperate from Nile. Not going to connect. Sees Beans at range, but doesn't necessarily expect the second contested in reman early. So yes, the glide bomb will be called in. This sent mid-map. Nowhere for Steve-O to go but down. What does that do to the spawns? Look at number 5. Beans will spawn all the way out. So an opportunity here for the Originals to break. And the read from Raffi. He finds 2 off the spawn. It's a 4-man feed. And the Originals, a perfect rotation and break over to 3.
Yeah, now look at how far they're spawning away right beside Church there. And they're worried about where Raffi is, so they're taking their time working through A-Long at the moment. But Beans has been able to inch up through mid. They'll deal with one inside of the building. And this is now going to ignite the push. Beans for 2 off screen. It's left up to Grad in the back, who will also be dealt with there by the likes of Harry. But the close spawn means that you can continue to funnel your resources in. 15 seconds will be locked in here for the Originals.
Yeah, you can soak up every last second here with the timing of when those kills come through. You know that Moneyform is not going to hit this again, so you also can challenge them on rotation, which is a couple of Rogue members, and how about it? You do get a couple, and Weeman, I think he spawned, Root ran right off. I don't think he expected to spawn there. So he kills himself, unfortunately, and with that, the Church will open up in favor of the Original. Scrap turning into initial, Grad working along the back, gets at least some read onto Harry, gets the gunfight, wins it. And now maybe more contestants coming as Grad is tagged down low. Slides from right to left. Information that Beans is nearby, but he's the sole remaining member from Moneyform and he gets traded out.
Yeah, Raffi inside the hard point right now being a menace. They have to deal with him, and Raffi will finally be dealt with. Nile there for 1. Weeman gets himself in the point. Back and forth across the board. Still probably going to be a couple more hits. Just trying to fight for that scrap time as Grad's going to get stunned up, locked in here for a second, but he's got a bit of assistance now with him. So a couple players inside of the hard point. Going to try to put some pressure on here for the remaining 10 seconds, and Grad with a two-piece looks like he will be able to lock it up, and that's going to put the Originals over 100 points.
That is two beautiful hard points back-to-back for the Originals. But now you turn your attention over into the command center. Furious is holding the staircase. The safety blanket of this wall just immediately gets destroyed, and right over the top comes Beans. So now 3 members for Moneyform in for the initial time. You've got the Originals trying to set something up from the front largely. No one really contesting from mid-map, mostly because Stevo is watching the well side courtyard. But now as the hit starts to come through, the trades go 4 for 2, and it's Nile on a double, 3 in a row, and overall, that will be another break to where the Originals continue to grow their lead.
And we talked about Nile coming in here and having a big game. 4 in the feed, lights it up, has half of his kills right there in that moment here. And now 8 and 12 as Nile tries to get back into it. Need to see more of that from him, and well, so far so good. The Originals holding on to about 50 points in their favor. Rappy trying to work through the back. Will be able to find a one-on-one gunfight. Takes down Weeman. Meanwhile, Nile off screen finds another two-piece, and with the flip of the spawns here behind them, we'll see if they're going to be able to get a read on this. But with that win from Grad, 3 in a row, will be able to get on the hill, but he won't be able to stay alive.
Yeah, I kind of would have loved to have seen Grad just go prone, play his life a little while longer, just try to delay as you know your teammates are spawning towards the favored side. They can get ARs there and help you out a little bit quicker than you may expect, but Nile, after having earned that glide bomb off of his most recent streak, he calls that in for the assistance to try to break on through. But Weeman, a difficult position to strike him from. Gets him 2 before Stevo has to come for the trades, and that'll be a double of his own. Now 1 more deep. It's Rafi, and he really cannot contest without help. Need nades to start coming through, and you also got to consider the rotation, because what was 3 good hard points in a row for the Originals, this time is considerable from the side of Moneyfarm, and the streak will be called in, trying to shake them free.
Logs finds the first one. It is just for scrap time, and it might not even be secured scrap time, because you still have player 7 here, Weeman, that's putting at least a little bit of presence on it. And Stevo now watching his mid-cut, so no one's going to be able to pinch him through you. And, well, no one really gets the remaining 5 seconds there. So good job there from Weeman, able to play his life. But now the push right through mid-map. This is a chance for Moneyform. Be able to lock in a setup. They are here first, and they're going to have to deal with the push that's coming through now for the Originals.
Yeah, they're here first, but they don't really have a forward zone on the hard point. You can even see Weeman is holding a very passive angle along the back, and it does pan out. So now with 4 dead, now you start to expect to see Moneyform start to get a little bit more aggressive on some of these angles. Feel out where this hit is coming from, and force the Originals have to do something special. And these nades are going to give all the information you could possibly need. Beans tossing the stun back, that will get enough information off the hit marker alone. Does get tagged and pushed back, and Stevo, 5 in a row, actually going to get pressured. You thought for a moment maybe out of the hard point, but no! Vortex! Let's just say it how it is. Call a spade a spade. Best SMG currently, I would say, in European Challengers history. 7 in a row, 21 and 16, and he locks down the scrap.
And because of that lockdown on the scrap and the majority of the time, Moneyform, they have taken the lead. And Beans is in the back, and he's got assistance with him. So this is a pivotal moment, but Vortex is still on the spree. Streaks are coming in. Should be able to find a kill in the back here, but he might take down a teammate as well. He gets that call from Beans. He'll make sure that he doesn't use it to take down Beans, and he's still alive.
Oh, boy.
Beans on 5. Oh, he gets assistance there from Vortex. They are spawn trapping them in the back on the rooftops, and Beans is relentless. 6 in a row, fully streaked out, and throws himself on the time.
You just cannot allow opportunities for Moneyform to get back into games like this. Like, the Originals had such a great rotation from 3, 4, and 5 in the first rotation. You thought, man, you keep this up, even marginally, you should be on cruise control to win this map. But Moneyform now stepping up. It's Harry for a Spinorama 3. The 4th in the corner reads that as well. It's a 4-man kill feed for Harry. Not done. How about number 5? No, it's Nile who's able to at least turn it aside. But, oh, what a play from Harry.
Oh, we got highlight reels on highlight reels. Back and forth we go. Vortex in the back. Still a streak that he's probably going to save here if we end up seeing a P1 hill again. But in the back, 2 players now. 1 is dealt with. The second is not. That's going to be a pivotal trade. Enough to get inside of the hard point and enough to be able to get 4 players down. That is one of those moments that you'll look back on, and now Nile gets to start zoning from the front.
And the thing is, he can just hold this position and make sure nobody challenges from the front. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that cannot happen. These are these little gaps that let Moneyform move forward, and they will absolutely punish you. The break comes through. Moneyform cruising towards the 200-point threshold. Harry along the back, not losing any gunfights. Even at 5 HP, he wants to get back in, and why not? He's got help. Another 4-man feed. A full team wipe for Moneyform as they break past the double century mark.
Into P5. Stevo Vortex here first, but he doesn't get the read on Rafi, who's actually been able to clear up too, and he's going to backtrack to the rooftops to make sure everything is clear. Grad picks it up, so beautiful teamwork exchange here between the duo. And now with the hill time in their favor, everyone waiting and taking routes across the map for the side of Moneyform, taking their time on this push and in the back. Are they going to read this? Harry's got to find value, and he gets a perfect pinch from Vortex. They have found one. They're going to move in. They have information on Claws. They just got to break inside the hard point.
Oh, one team kill comes out, but it may not make too much of a difference. It's just Niall in, and he gets turned aside. Rafi moving quickly, try to contest the first floor here of the command center, and he will take up the staircase. Now the rest of the hit has to be successful from the front, and Weeman, he's found a collection of weapons to use, and another team wipe comes out, and now Moneyform has the opportunity to zone a little bit further forward. You cannot win off of this hard point, but boy, can you be close, and keep an eye on number 5 in the minimap. Beans has already rotated, as the Originals, they were going to chalk the large majority of the scrap time in favor of trying to get a lockdown setup, but nobody has seen Beans, and he could blow this play wide open from the back.
Yeah, he's got good information here, but they have turned for him, so Beans will drop, but he's still got streaks to use. And again, you can take your time here, just like Moneyform did to break P5. Here's the first one. Glide's going to come through. Both players going to try to separate themselves, but no, they come together, and Beans finds the double. One more player weak on the point. Weeman with the snap, able to take down almost the second, but the nade gets the job done. Moneyform, they come back, they take control, and they steal away the Tuscan hardpoint.
It's just, oh, that glide bomb. You thought that, okay, you find one kill, that's fine, not the end of the world. You still have 3 total members that were on the hard point for the Originals, but yeah, you called it 100% correctly. Both players kind of get towards the same side of the hard point, thinking that they're the ones individually that are going to draw the streak towards them, and it ends up amounting into a spot where it gets 2, and then the break is just too easy from there on out. That's so unfortunate, because I think there is a world where if the Originals only lose 1, they're fine. They're good. It'll be okay. You still got enough members to contest, at worst, the time on the zone and wait for reinforcements, if not just be able to battle out and win it flat out. So that is tough for sure, but Moneyform, again, you just gave them one instance to jump back in. Second set of rotations, we started to see a lot of good stuff coming out of the Originals, but once we got back over to P2 and P3, Moneyform just pulled it too far away.
And we'll see it in the replays. There was like a point in time where like Vortex was on a 9 spree, and then Beans was on 6, and like those are 15 consecutive kills that end up coming through that swing the game completely. But you see it here. I mean, 145 to 122. It was this moment where we started to see that lead change. It was, you know, Stevo Vortex here finding a couple of ridiculous multi-kills, and then Harry, 1, 2, 3, give me the 4th, already pre-firing it here. Jump chows there onto Rafi for a 4 spree. And those moments like that, Alan, I mean, those can't happen. You need those trades to come through critically, and they're able to work their way back into a game that was looking like it was going to be completely out of their control.
Yeah. And how about Stevo, 32 and 21? Just with a minute and 30 of hill time. Like, oh, God, dude, just somebody pick him up, please. I'm sick of casting this guy at this point. I'm not, but I'm going to make it sound like I am. So darn good. And on the other front, you know, it was a really slow start for Niall, but he did get back into the mix. The streaks that he earned came at a very crucial time, and I think that's kind of a one-for-one cause and effect of why this game gets to within close margins in the first place, right? So you are getting some pretty solid team effort coming out of the Originals. Let's be honest, you know, as far as the one-for-one matchup is concerned, we've already mentioned it, Moneyform has recent results versus the Originals in Cup number 5, beat them in the opening round, and they then went on to win Cup 5. So the Originals definitely are the underdog in this matchup just based on how the year has gone so far. And you need to see, like we continue to harp on, participation from everybody if they even want to come close, right? Like, the best KD we see here is the 26 and 26 of Furious. And he doesn't even come close to Stevo at 32 and 21. So you have to get help from everybody. And, you know, I'm kind of long-winding this, but they did get good help this time around. Maybe it was a little bit too late, but hey, a 44-point margin against the Moneyform squad is not bad at all. And let's be honest, we didn't really expect too much from their hard point. It has to be done largely in the search and destroy, I think, if they want to extend this series as long as possible.
That's what I'm looking at here, Alan. We go back to the Tuscan S&D, a chance to be able to pull out a win here, and I think I'm on board with you. You need to find the S&Ds because, you know, it's becoming more of a conversation where maybe you're going to have to, you know, 2-3-5 this team, as we, you know, tend to talk about, where you need to take the S&D, you need to take the control, and then you need to get it to a map number 5 here, and maybe that's, you know, your window. But even on that note, it's not even like things are bad for the side of Moneyform. We hit on it at the top of the series where we said, listen, yes, the S&D record isn't exactly great, but a lot of those S&Ds were round 11s, round 10s, very close opportunities at being able to close that out. And a lot of those maps just go slightly different. There's a world where, you know, they're 4-1 in S&D and not the other way around. So I definitely can't count these guys out. But if you are looking for a moment where the originals are going to be able to find their way back into the series, you do feel like it starts with the search and destroy, especially with some of the changes. I think for Tuscan, it will be interesting to see how teams set up defensively and how risky they play, not getting the sound cues and knowing when to challenge, knowing when to cook those nades. Are they going to try to take away a little bit more of the middle of the map here and contested so that they have a little bit more control to bounce between sites? That's what I'm really interested to see, since we haven't really seen too much gameplay overall with the changes.
I think those are all huge, important points. We touched on it through the first slot of matches. It'll continue to be the case that we continue to talk about pretty much throughout the entirety of the week and probably into playoffs. As far as referability, and for what it's worth, Moneyform did play Tuscan Search and Destroy in their match versus United Nations. They lost 3-6. So continuing to build in the narrative of must-win map in a must-win match for the originals right here, right now. You have to be able to beat this team in Search and Destroy if you want to win this series, because you're not going to get 2 respawns off of them. That much seems for sure. This is one of the best hardpoint teams right now in Europe. We saw exactly why. Control, the story doesn't get much better, mostly because we haven't seen a lot from the originals to give us much cause for confidence in what they can bring to the control table. So have to win here. And then who knows? You've got a Bacage map 4 at worst then to extend the map to, and who knows what'll happen there. That thing is, yeah, let's be honest, no one knows. Maybe Atlanta knows. Atlanta's the only team that knows what's going on that map.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you get to a Bocage hardpoint and it's a whole new series, right? So that's all you got to kind of talk about going into it, if you can get there a couple steps before we end up seeing it. But I mean, the series definitely, I think with the maps that we have in it, it's a winnable one. The originals, they need to win it, and they need to show us that, you know, they can actually pull through on a map the way that they had the opening start. I mean, if they were able to come away and take that very first hard point and actually close out the lead that they had built for themselves halfway through that map when they were up 40-50 points, like maybe this is actually a series that you can, you know, potentially win. But because you drop that first map in the fashion that you do, it becomes 10 times more difficult in the way that you have to close out 2 more respawns. So I mean, these guys are really going to have to kind of take their time here, reset, go into the S&D, win this, and then build off of it and talk about how you're going to take down the squad going into a control or another hard point, because you already hit on it. The fact that we have a Bocage in the mix, I mean, you can't predict anything on that map. Anyone can have one big moment on that map and completely change the way that the outcome could end up coming through here for us. So if they can get it done in the S&D here, Alan, I strongly believe that there is an opportunity, but it all starts with the Tuscan Search and Destroy.
I hard agree with you. And again, I tilt the advantage still to Moneyform in a slight way, but I think things can dramatically change if we can continue to see good improvement from Niall. That's the biggest thing. He's the lowest KD on the team, and he's also the lowest KD almost in EU in Search and Destroy. 0.7 is just not going to cut it when you're trying to be the guy to enter on into some of these sites. So that's where I'm really looking at that. And maybe on top of it, as I'm kind of looking through some of the statistics, shout out to EasyMac, how about the opening duel win rate for a player like Rafi? He's won 83% of first blood engagements that he's taken, the 6 total, at least from the first week. He won 5 of them. That's actually a really impressive margin. So if you can find favor maybe in first blood, maybe that's where the advantage starts to accrue up for you. Isolate, get good first engagements. Who knows? Maybe you do have a chance to maybe run away with this a little bit more as we get into the Tuscan Search and Destroy. I don't know. I'm excited to see kind of what speed and tempo that originals want to come out with. I think that's probably where we're going to learn a lot about what this map could potentially look like by the end of it.
And a lot of the games that I saw in week 1, you know, from the side of Moneyform, it was a lot more controlled, it was a lot slower. So if you talk about, one of these players stepping up, being able to find first bloods, that slows things down that much more, and maybe gives you a chance, gives you an opportunity to set up on the map correctly, use your numbers. We'll have to see though, but attacking first in the map number 2 is going to be Moneyform. Wee Man over the top. Going to be watching this top church angle. There's an opportunity to be able to drop this bomb, but Harry has been able to find one. Grad gets caught slipping.
That's tough, too, because now you know that 2 players are watching over the B site, so you've got a free plant. You have to just watch the middle of the map, and oh, boy. Well, that's what happens. I will say, for what it's worth, I like the idea for the Originals to try to get aggressive through the command center on the B side of the map, just to try something a little bit different off the rip.
Sure.
The problem is, when you get red like that, it's so easy for the offense to adjust and put themselves in a key position just to lock things down after post plan. So it's difficult, but I do like the effort from the Originals. Just unfortunately, they got caught.
Yeah, just testing things out too, right? Is someone watching this? If not, maybe the round after they have to because they slip through. It's just kind of figuring out play styles, positions, and getting a feel for it. But Beans about to get a feel for the boomstick here through A long, and wow, what a challenge there from Furious. Able to just jump around the right side of that wall and get the better angle there onto Vortex. So first blood is good. Bomb is down. Retake now in effect for Moneyform.
Furious saw the leg of Wee Man as well. It's a beautiful timing for the engagement. Beans does pick up one and then gets the quick scope off for a second. Goodness me. Beans looking for the ace. 1v2. No.
It's a hard angle to see from, Like, yeah, I was waiting for it. I was like, he's eyeing him up there. He's like, I know he's top. He's got to be playing the clutch spot. And then he's looking through, just the tiniest piece of wood layered over top of each other. And yeah, you can't really blame him for that one. But if it was open, maybe Beans would have taken a shot after the quick scope there onto Nile. A good attempt, but not good enough for the round here. So both teams have opted into A offensive attacks, and both have worked out here successfully. So we'll see what changes on defense this time around. And it looks like it is going to be a high contest by A, but we're like, that's fine. We're making our way over to B, and Moneyform, they have a lot of room to work with.
I would be very confident that Moneyform say, wait, they double stack defenders over towards B. They're not going to do that again. So let's just try to 4-man hit this. Bomb getting planted immediately. Harry around the back, able to make sure there is no quick contest, but Rafi does find elimination as soon as the bomb has been planted. 2v2. Harry around through column. Mostly responsible for Furious in the back while Rafi is trying to come on over, and Furious. That is a good bit of toe tagging coming through. Information now to Rafi. Gets the 5th elimination. Chance for the 1v1. Harry on point from the high ground. No. That would have been some next level Batman moves if he would have pulled that off. And with that, we stay all offense through 3.
Yeah, if he snaps on him on top of the statue here with an MP40, it would have been disgusting, but won't be able to get the gun up in time. But I do believe that the glide came through. Doesn't find the 6th kill, so is not going to have the strafing run, but will have the luxury of playing with the glide bomb here on Tuscan, which can be extremely valuable. So definitely something to watch for going into some of these future rounds there. But now going into round number 4, it looks like they're just kind of going to just replicate each other here back-to-back rounds where it's like, hey, you know what? We're gonna send it to BS4 as well.
Little monkey see, monkey do situation.
Yeah.
Harry can't get out. That'll be good for a first blood, and Furious is getting up fast. Very fast. Although, what a response it is from Weeman. Do they expect Grad?
No.
One. No, not the second. Good nade. At least tallies up in an elimination. And so now Vortex picks up his fallen comrade's sniper rifle and now has a couple of tools for the job. 1v2, and he's going to take the long route around.
Yeah, I like this play. We'll try to attack from a different angle. The big question here is the door still open from this P5 area? And it is not. So he's going to have to make a bit of noise here. And it doesn't look like Niles heard anything, though. So Vortex still in a position where he might be able to come through. But they have flipped sides and, well, sitting in the corner. Oh, man, that was closer than it should have been. Still wouldn't have had much time on the clock. Good attempt, though, from Vortex.
Nile lost that gunfight.
I don't know what I would have said.
I mean, he lost it. It's just lucky that Rafi was there. I was biting onto my lower lip there for a second, like, ugh!
That was like, I don't want it to happen, but I kind of do. What's going on here?
It's like a NASCAR crash. You just can't look away.
It's true.
But all offense still. How different the map feels when when you make a sound patch. Quick play for Stevo over towards A. Nades could be sent here through Church, maybe to try to count us, but there's not information on it. So retake will have to be the name of the game for the Originals, and they're going to try to retake through field. Glide bomb comes down. Here comes the retake, all with that effort. Stevo nearly collects a double. And as Grad pushes forward, he needs to make sure mid-alley stays safe, because otherwise you will not put any pressure on this player up top nest.
A lot of info there with the glide, but they haven't really been able to make great use of it. And then Grad gets information on one more. So they could hop on the defuse, especially with Furious finding this kill onto Beans. He was responsible for playing the clutch spot. Is he going to be able to read the second? Harry for one. Harry jumping onto Raffi. Just needs to play his life. And he won't be able to. Raffi gets the angle and will be able to get on that defuse. What around the final seconds there. Raffi with 3 here to make sure that it's the Originals going up by 1.
I love that play on the retake from the Originals, just largely knowing, okay, we get a lay of the land, the glide bomb tells us everything we need to know, and then it was a play that jumped up from well to get the kill on the sniper rifle and nest, and then everything from there kind of goes wrong. The only player that was watching that long flank was the AR watching deep, right from this position actually, to try to keep the sniper safe. So that doesn't come through. It was Furious who made that opening play, and then Harry nearly reroutes it perfectly. But the GPS apparently not calculated for what was coming on in front of him. And now Beans, he has been so good with the sniper. By the way, it's his 4th kill, and I think all 4 of them have been wiped by the scope.
Beans has been pretty on fire with the scope so far, and can play the difference, can make you play a little more hesitant. As Raffi looking for an angle onto Wee Man. He's also got Vortex down low in the corners, trying to guard and watch over A, maybe from a bit of an off angle, but Beans, another chance. And he will collapse with the kill. Beautiful kills coming in from Beans in this round. And now Furious is also going to be tagged up. And it's all up to Raffi, who's lost all of his team members, but will be able to find at least one.
And he could play for... Never mind.
Play for the nade to the face.
Let's say he's 1 away from a glide bomb. He's trying to get the regen off, but no, the nade cooked perfectly. Oh, what?
Wow.
Just bounces off the wall. Maybe if he stays down, I don't know what the radius would have looked like if he could have gotten maybe a little bit of safety from the wall in front, but that nade was not quite as perfect as it may have seemed from the initial look. But we go 3-3. First 4 rounds all offense, 5 and 6 all defense. Back to back we go. It's just a lot of just copycatting of what's happening here as far as the score is concerned. And just stop peeking Beans. Stun check is fine, but you cannot peek him. Goodness, that was even too close for comfort.
Oh.
Harry watches the cross and gets both. And now it should lead to a plant here at A.
That might lead to the round right there because, yeah, you're not aware. Oh, yeah, it's just Niles just dropping down right into the snake pit here. Watching over him, nowhere to go, but it's just coming back to the information there for Beans. Even though he doesn't connect on that shot, he lets Harry know, hey, one player is crossed, and then Harry has the confidence just to take that challenge when he's just only can see the head, the top of the noggin there on the heady, and rips him right off of the cover. And that 2-piece there from Harry just opens up the middle of the map, because once you start to lose players from the side of A and right through mid on Church, it opens up for angles like that to flood all the way through and flank right through Church. So good play there from Moneyform, and now it looks like the Original is going to go back to the old strat here and just drop the bomb right away.
They can post plant set up for bottom Church if they want to here, just with this forward positioning. Number 6 and Grad is in a key spot to be able to watch this bomb defusal from either the low ground or the high ground. And as Grad does get the elimination, I think the awareness for Moneyform is, we got to find these kills and find them quickly if we're going to have a chance to defuse this bomb. Another aggressive hit comes through. Around the back, Beans, surely not, my dude. 3 for him. Grad has given up his position at Church. Beans looking for the reload, gets a couple of shots off, but that will likely be about it. Wee Man on 4. He has a chance for Grad. That not allow him to get even back to this bomb in time, and yeah, that's indeed the case. So he'll just save his life for the potential streak. Nearly collects it there as Raffi was shut in the windows. Oh, it does get it!
Both. Oh, that's a misplay from Raffi. I mean,
agreed.
I get the idea, right? You maybe want to stop the second streak from coming in, but I feel like you just have to pay your respects. You have to put your ego aside in that moment and just say, listen, I'm going to play my life. I mean, maybe they're not even aware that Wee Man is on 6, but I mean, when you're at this level, you should be tracking who's staying alive, how many kills they're getting. And now Wee Man has an additional piece of utility to be able to potentially come away with this map 2 that the Originals need to win here in this best of 5. So things certainly getting a lot more intense, a lot more heated, and Money Form with all of this utility on Wee Man are just going to search for information. It's all about shoulders. It's all about seeing what you can get, and Wee Man's going to drop the streak.
He's not going to see really anything, though. And this hit, Furious, a brilliant first blood. Help is quick to help from the middle of the map. That's the bomb now dropped. 2v4, Money Form. Get a bit of help out of Furious, who team nades, but now it's just on to Beans. Hell of a challenge, but the trade is quickly there to follow. And that's a streak off the table, and you're the first team to get to 5. So, hey, hold on a second.
Hold on a second for sure, and it's still winnable here for the Originals. There's still at least a strafing run. The good news is that strafing runs usually cause more harm than they usually help, so it's probably at least something here for the Originals to kind of hang on to. But that same note, they're on the attack. They've hit multiple different bomb sites. I'm expecting them to go back to A and do their rush plan while Rafi watches over mid, and I think that's what they're going to aim for here.
This is a different look, though. They're playing this from the outside of A this time. And Furious just needs to keep his life. Do not die here if you're Furious. Stun comes out. Vortex wants the chow, wins it. Why not? Meanwhile, though, Rafi does win another engagement to kind of keep the trade even. And you've got Grad who slipped around the back. Bomb planted. Grad gets away with his life, and Rafi, who's had a great search and destroy, will cement it for the Originals with the double there. 6 for the tally, and hey, we said it. This was a map that you had to win, and boy, did they.
Yeah, they do it. They deliver for us, Alan. 6-4 victory. Just incredible search and destroy there being played. I love the idea. Going back to what was working, it's not the same rush plant that they did the round previous where they ran through mid, but it's the same idea where they're taking outer A control. They're just kind of almost baiting with the fact that Beans isn't there, holding a scope there with the shots that he was hitting, and he wasn't. So they're able to at least take control, and they just push right through A long. And I don't think that was expected whatsoever there on the other side for Money Form. And because of it, I mean, you're able to come from behind and stop that entire setup that's kind of so important and so integral to holding on to Church and being able to, play through mid or back up and play through A long. No one's watching that pinch. It cost them in the end, and they get themselves a map win. So still a very doable series. A must win had to come through, and it did.
The thing about that last round, if you think about the last 2 offenses for the Originals, I think what the whole intention is, hey, Beans is dominating us outer A. Let's continue to put pressure on towards mid so he feels like he's being useless, and then maybe he swaps to a different position or just switches out the weaponry. And, again, the round before, the offense before, as you had mentioned, quick hit towards A, through the middle of the map, successful 2 times and out throughout that map. But you go to the final round in round 10, and you sit there and say, if Beans is still out here, let's set nade the living heck out of him. And then you at least get the information if he's there or not. He wasn't that round. You get a chance to move around through Church from a different angle, control that backside of the map. It's really, really good. And we'll take a look at some of the replays, of course, over the top of it. And I will say, kind of one of the talking points, could Rafi come up big for this team? We talked about his prowess in the opening gunfight engagements, 86% win rate. Maybe didn't get as many first blood engagements as you would have loved to have seen, but he was in control from start to finish all the way throughout this map.
He sure was. I mean, just with a couple of big kills to be able to play his life after finding them, getting the trade,
that was the only
getting in
right
there. Yeah, this was like I think is like, listen, I'm going to shut the streak down, guys. There's going to be no strafing run. And then it's like, oh, wait, yes, there is. It's like, well, I should have taken it. But either way, he still comes up big here with the 13 bomb, 8 non-traded kills. And a majority of that was also with the automaton. But I mean, 1,500 damage in a Tusken search and destroy. That is incredible to say the least here. And the Originals, they're going to need a lot more of that going forward here. But this is also another example of it, Alan, where this was like a one-man show. This was a heroic moment from Rafi really stepping up. You have Brad 6 and 7. You have Niall, who we've talked about throughout this entire series, who isn't putting up the numbers, right? We're not trying to harp on him. We're just simply sitting on the facts that he has not stepped up to where we need him to in order for the Originals to really take this series. I think Furious had a lot of great opening engagements, but same idea, 5 and 8. This was very much Rafi taking over and making sure that they had a map locked in.
Agreed. I 100% agree with the evaluation because, again, it's one of those things that you look from top to bottom, and you have to find win conditions in the roster of Originals to beat the full 4-man force of this Money 4 team. It's not just in, hey, you need to get the map 5 and win both search and destroys, which still is, I think, their biggest pathway to get a victory here. But if you can even get to that map 5, I think is the first question. And you need to start seeing full-on participation. You cannot just allow one player to pop off, especially as we start to look towards Control. It's another Tusken in the mix. And the good news is, you know, for Originals, they are coming off of a 3-1 map mode win on this combination against the Galactics in their first series today. So, hey, you've got some success to ride off of. You've got some things, I assume, in the playbook that have just been added or were recently added that are successful for you. Do those again, obviously. Easy commentary. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But find ways to make sure that this Money Form team is slowed down in their respawn. Because like we saw on the hard point, you give them a little bit of space, they will make you feel like you're trapped in spawn.
Yeah, you just said it so beautifully. Like, there was a point in time where there was like 15 consecutive kills that came through just from 2 players.
Yeah.
It was the 9 spree from Vortex and then 6 from Beans. Like, you need trades. You need to wait for one another, especially, I mean, in a game mode like Control, even compared to Hardpoint, where you can maybe be a little bit more loosey-goosey. Like Control, it's not even so much about the life factor, but it's more about the time that you have to work with overall. So when you throw away 1 or 2 life, sometimes that hinders 20, 30 seconds that you can't afford to lose when you're on the offense. So this is a potential map that they could end up coming through with, I believe, again, 2-0 for Money Form on this map mode combination. So we'll see if they can kind of carry this through here again and keep that streak flawless.
And just for what it's worth, since we know we're going to get the Bacage hardpoint, Money Form is 3-1 on that map too. So it's not going to be easy for the Originals, just based off the map mode combos, to get to that map 5. So someone has to step up, and look at this from Money Form. What? 3-man hit through Church opens up the middle of the map, and that's going to allow them to get right on into B and completely isolate Furious. He cannot do anything besides stay here and hope that he can continue to win 1v1s, which he doesn't even get the first one. Weeman wins the engagement. The first tick of progress already done at B.
Already done. The second tick halfway through. It is all up to Beans. Does he get the raid? Beans with the snap under Rafi, but 2 more players there to deal with, and he's not going to be able to do so. However, that is fine. You take a look at the other side of the map. A is now open. Weeman's been able to find that first one on Denial to be able to really ignite this push, but Rafi will try to be the rock. He finds a second, as it is still a bit of a split call here offensively right now for Money Form, going for both zones.
Yeah, missing out on that second tick of progress is actually more important than it may seem. But Beans, dude, he's just killing everybody in a bullet and a half. Dude, he's super juiced, that MP40. Weeman for 1 are on the back, but traded. That does pull the defense numerically down towards B, which will leave a bit of vacancy here for Money Form to get on and stop the clock at the A zone. But look what the play call is for Originals. They're not really as worried about this A zone. They're worried about just getting the spawns forced to the top left and maybe just kind of soak up some kills here. First tick of progress done and dusted on the A zone, and now that you've got some numbers, maybe you try to recontest. And that seems to be the call, as Nile on 4. Good start for him. Has a chance to get in, maybe stop the second tick of progress from being confirmed, but no. Beans, another gunfight win, and the second tick will be locked in.
Beans will drop there off screen. Grad takes him down, so progress on both zones, but you are a little low on time here. So I think the call should be made for Money Form to just move into A, get that additional minute. We are getting pretty low on lives as well. 13 up against 12, but they're just going to make the call to say, let's stack B. Let's get some numbers here. Beans is in the back. He's going to be able to move in, almost finds the second, but pressure now on the Originals to try to respond here on the B zone. Vortex is still alive, doesn't have the assistance, so now it's one last attempt back over to the A zone.
But they're going to chalk this just due to the fact that you kind of got a couple of stray members from Money Form moving towards the B zone for a moment there. As soon as you start to see the last player, I think it was Beans that was on the A zone, run away from it, Steve-O, he spawned up, and I was like, oh, he's just going to be the one to go on to A to make sure they get this progress still. But it's a risky call. But 60 extra seconds on the clock, well needed. 7v8 now the current situation. And you've got Furious mid-map looking just to deter any coordinated hit. Good information transferred to Rafi on 3 in a row. Great start for him at 8-2. And in this position, topside radio, well, I was going to say he needs to kind of finesse his life for as long as possible because it's not going to be down to the clock. It's going to be up to these last 10 lives that are totally remaining.
Yep, one team push left. And off from the top there, Beans at least gets the trade, but any kills that you end up finding are going to be really good here for you now if you are the Originals. 5 playing up against 3. All 3 players making their move right into the zone, trying to create some pressure. Beans with the first one, tries to snap for the second. Not going to happen. It's all up to Harry, 1v3, and that won't happen either. The Originals, they will hold on defensively.
I think if we were to really be nitpicky, you go back to that last play from Vortex off spawn where the time is already running low and he decides to go help B when the A zone was free. Like it cost them like 1 extra life and maybe 10 extra seconds, but who knows? In a game that finishes in a 1v3 with not a lot of time remaining, 1 extra trade could have made that a 2v2. Nitpicky as heck, I know, I get it. But here we go, other side. Originals, what do they have in store for us offensively? Nothing out of the ordinary, at least from what we've seen so far. Stack over towards the A zone, and Moneyform are going to let the first tick of progress go and then try to retake with utility to stop the second. Good kills coming out, at least initially. The second tick of progress will be here. And even though the retake is on the way, the numbers stay relatively level, and 2 ticks of progress is more than enough.
It sure is. You still have control mid-map, and you can also, apply that pressure and switch it over to B if you so wish to. And they're just going to stack 1 player on the zone. Harry does get the read and is already on the fast track for a rotation that will come through from Originals, inevitably over to the B zone. So now he's basically got the rooftops completely blocked off, but the Originals are going to try to funnel him out. Rafi with some clean shots there will remove Harry from one of the big power positions on the rooftop. So now Vortex, of course, he's got the information. 2 players are going to be coming through this top patio and radio area. And while that happens, 2 more players here for the Originals are starting to make their way through church.
They get totally caught off, though. There is no one defensively in the church, so the call from Moneyform is let's push forward and take away this position, and it costs them on the timing. So now 1 more defender to deal with in the back is Beans. Furious has not seen him cross, but it doesn't make a difference. Rafi's already watching that same angle. First tick of progress good. Second on the way. Long pinch from Vortex. You've got to get here and get here quickly. From the top ropes. Gets the first.
Vortex.
Gets the second. Vortex. 1 more to find. It's up top. It's going to be Furious who's trying to hold on to his life. But Steve-O turns and cannot find the elimination. But Harry, some pressure forward. Glide Bomb getting called in. It's a 15v22. But kills are starting to turn up for Moneyform as they deplete a little bit of this clock.
Yeah, the beautiful part of this situation is that you already have 2 ticks. You're up in lives. You don't have to force anything right away. You could start to use your stuns. Take these defensive players out of these power positions like Harry. And now that you removed 1, you can set up the push again. Claws in the back. Will Furious be able to escape with his life? He's finessing, he's playing it, and now he can go and reinforce with his team. They just need to find the gunfights. Beans is going to go down. Up top, there will be a trade. Vortex there for the response, but Nile has been able to work his way around. What damage can he do? They're stacking the zone. That 3rd tick well on its way. That should be good. Nobody can get there, and what a play call. What a move. The Originals also good on the attack.
For me, you go back to that 1 setup moment where Moneyform is fully bunkered up on the zone except for Harry watching the spawns. Nobody had any intel through church. And without that information, the ability for the offense to use that church alleyway to hit you from column is so free because you get an angle to where you can actually contest those players on the top side of patio. So with only SMGs, Moneyform say, we need to try to push out and take command center. And when they do, they run into 2 waiting Originals players who are looking for that aggressive play. And those kills, in my mind, largely dictated how the rest of that round had gone. So 2-0 up are the Originals, but Moneyform, no cheekiness this time. Straight over towards A. Good kills will lead to likely at least 2 ticks, if not the entire zone.
Well, this has been a pretty clean round so far. Rafi feels the need to already utilize one of the streaks and maybe slow down some of the progress. Nile clears out 1 inside of church, and now with a good stun grenade, you should find a trade onto Beans here.
Wow.
You should is the key word I'm highlighting, and they don't. So Harry now gets to push all the way through this B zone. He's only able to come up with 1, but you've bought so much time for Beans in this power position, but he's unable to make great use of it. So Will ends up losing out there on the streak, dies on the 4 spree. However, while all this has been happening, Steve-O, Vortex, he's just been soaking up time, and this will be the A zone.
Wee Man thought he could catch timing on the second player, but Beans 18 and 14, a bright light here from Moneyform. Able to get some trades, 4 life lead and 2 minutes on the clock. how do you hit this? A lot of pressure through the middle of the map. This is that same setup again that Money Farm just had, but look at number 8. See how Furious gets forward? That means that, okay, let them have church. They have to come through a tight hallway. We've got all this high ground control. You're even forcing the spawns to be as far top left as humanly possible. This setup is exactly what the Money Farm were trying to do last time, but the difference is the Originals have found the kills to allow them to get a little bit further forward.
It's a big split on the map right now. Money Farm, one player coming up here through church, the other's waiting patiently, and Vortex is maybe all you need. Nobody now on the zone. Rafi waiting for his teammates and his subs to be able to push up, but on the zone, pressuring B. Harry and Beans winning out on gunfights. This is looking good. They have a setup. The spawn's still going to be in the back, and the Originals have to play retake.
You have to play this together. It's going to take them a while to get progress down in this zone, but if you start funneling one by one, it gives Money Farm an opportunity to just completely overwhelm with numbers, but Niall from the flank gets a beautiful double, and the pressure is cleared. First tick of progress was locked, but the second gets depleted, and we go to a 14v11. 60 seconds on the clock, and once again, Originals, they're in this far forward enveloping position around the outside of the zone. They should get good information on where this hit is largely coming from, but Money Farm have not committed to any particular route yet. They're trying to find multiple points of ingress, and Weeman gets around the back.
Yeah, Weeman gets around the back. I think there was miscommunication. Grad there gets pressured and has to backtrack a bit, but now this is ignited. Harry from the front. How many can he come away with right now? He doesn't have his teammates, and the answer is no more than one. So 35 seconds left on the clock. Money Farm have 10 lives. The Originals
Good
have
nades.
7. And you got maybe 2 good pushes left here offensively to try to make something happen for the remaining 2 ticks.
You do know that with that kill on denial that you should have some pressure to just jump on into the zone and force the defense. They have to respond to you. 1-for-1 the engagement. Beans around the backs for 2. But now, Grad! Oh boy! 4 in a row, 31 HP. Last player is Harry on the backside. Looking for the challenge on the Nile and wins it.
No lives.
7v3. Not a lot of lives as mentioned, but Furious could potentially hit a flank and just play this off the clock. It's a 7v2. Everything's going to be right in front of the Furious claws. Gets one. The second one through the alley. Furious challenge through bike, and that's going to be enough for the kills. Last one left is Rafi, and he cannot hold strongly enough against the last 2 members of Money Farm who stay alive to send us to a 4th round.
Oh, they sure do. They stay alive here, Alan, and a lot of it comes down to just the opening multi-kills here from the sub players. I mean, Beans has 23 kills. He's almost responsible for all the kills in a single control round of 30. He has been lights out here so far, and the same can be said for Rafi. 26 and 14, 12 objective kills. He's been all over the objective. He's been a huge part of why they're also still in this game. But boy, oh boy, 2-1. Money Farm. Can they find round number 2? It's Furious that opens up with the first blood. A trade goes back. A lot of control around A. We'll see if there could be a chance for retake, but this might be an early second tick, and I think that is going to be a second tick.
Yeah, this will probably be the zone unless Beans can sneak through. No. Got 2. Gave him a chance at it. Steve-O, who had already committed to defending the zone, will be kind of fully committed in this last tick of progress as he's kind of stuck. And actually, it beats the same. I'll just take care of that for you. Probably would have fallen regardless, but an extra 60 seconds. And we got 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock with a 3-life lead for the Originals. Steve-O's right behind him. It's literally chasing his shadow, but Furious does not care. Continues to move forward. Retakes the gunfight. Goodness me. And that'll be enough for now a very forward position to maybe create some avenues for the Originals to get back and help this zone.
Yeah, Furious looking for a little more. Beans will sniff him out, so they've dealt with another one. Niall here just going to have to hold his ground for a second, but his teammates are all making plays through A long at the moment, so they're going to try to come all the way around the back. Niall's probably going to go down here, and he does. So a lot of this play, extremely risky, and they have to at least find a trade onto Weeman, but this power position, it is so hard to work him out of it.
Well, look how far forward number 2 in the minimap is. Harry is all the way towards rooftop, so for Money Farm, they know if he's not getting contested, this hit has to be coming through the middle or around the back. Steve-O will exhibit that knowledge as he's able to find one and then read the second, but the pressure still allows the Originals to get a bit of a setup through radio. No forward defenders whatsoever. Money Farm trying to change that, and good help from Weeman to get Harry forward. A chance to contest the front side of the zone. 60 seconds on the clock. A 1-life lead for the Originals on they try to break. Grad. Solo challenge. Harry says, no. That's all me, buddy. That will likely mean that everyone else has to wait before they try to hit this again.
Harry for 2, and that slows things down. 45 seconds. You have to utilize your stuns and nades here and work Vortex out of this position, but instead it's Niall's gun that does the job. Furious for 2. This is your chance to be able to come through, but Beans on the flank. He's not able to find any value whatsoever. Wee Man's caught on reload. Control now on the zone. 35 seconds on the clock, and Beans, he's going to utilize the streak here with the glide, but he's only able to find one. Harry with the second, still a chance to come through.
Yeah, the thing about it is he may only find 1 kill, but you got to read on, I think, all 4 members of where the originals were, and the kills as you see them come through very quickly. The only player not accounted for right now is Niall. And honestly speaking, he is going to probably have to be the linchpin of success if there were to be an offensive win, but he's actually tracking back. They're going to try to full flood this? There's not a lot of time here. 5 seconds on the clock. And honestly speaking, they may just be trying to play for round 5 defense. The kills come through, but the clock will expire. And I don't know, that was a very puzzling final 30 seconds where it just kind of looked like they were playing for kills. You had a long router on the back, someone trying to play for kills and spot it. It just kind of felt like they were playing for eliminations.
It looked like it was like a split call where like some players wanted to play for kills. Others were like, no, we can get to the round or we close it out here. But the big question, defense, and well, the originals, they have it. But both teams so far here in this first 4 rounds on Control, they have both taken an offense. So we've already seen Moneyform do it. We'll see if they can do it again going into the 5th and final round. And Rafi opening up here with the first blood, almost now closing in on 30 kills.
Bit of a delayed hit here towards A. Steve-O putting some pressure over towards B. Look how many defenders he's drawing. Literally the entire defense is rotated over, and now Beans is here to help. The clock is stalled as Harry has just put his controller down to soak up time at A. Niall, big double for him. Make sure that no further progress can be made in the B zone, but until you clear out a couple more members here from Moneyform, the originals cannot commit to defending A. They might just have to fully chalk this as the second tick's about to come in.
Yeah, that might be the play. And Wee Man cut down, trying to make something happen into the back. While this happens, Harry's still alive, making things happen over on the A zone. Steve-O, nice win there onto Grad, but you're just trying to loosen up a lot of the numbers right now, because now you're going to have 2 minutes and 17 seconds to start working into B, and Harry's already in a great position. On top of that, he's on 3 in a row. A couple more kills, a glide bomb, it could open up and do wonders here for you, breaking into this B point.
Thing is, Furious is coming back to make sure this route stays safe, and he will catch Harry from behind. So now the information for the originals defense is this hit has to be coming through P5. And Rafi will give that call. However, Niall, not great timing on the peak. Furious has to come pick up his position. Not clean as of yet, only gets 1. So the even exchange allows a chance for Moneyform to actually go 3 for 1. Final defender, and Rafi will fall from the top side. Niall waiting for a bit of help. Beans trying to challenge the back Godhead, and he gets there first. Rafi, next contestant. But Beans is everywhere at once. 4 in a row, 37 and 28 for Beans. But the first tick of progress is, I don't believe, fully captured yet. And so with that, he's trying to go back towards, it's kind of hard to see. It looks like there's a little sliver that's not fully locked in yet.
I think you're right. I don't think the tick has come through just yet. Beans does get quite a bit of work done, at least eliminating a lot of the lives off the board. And now Vortex is in, and that will be the tick. So they get the first tick. 2 more now left on the B point, but the rest of the reinforcements, the defenders, they are here. Able to come away with 1, and now you got to slow down for a second right now if you're Moneyform, play for kills, and wait for your teammates to come off spawn.
What a read from Weeman. Steve-O gets into the zone. Pressure from behind, but Steve-O's rewrapping. Patio does not quite fully get up top. 2 eliminations, and the last members for the attack of Moneyform are in and around the church area. Grad is just, this is his only responsibility.
Yeah.
To sit here, make sure nobody crosses. That's it. And he's got the ability to obviously climb ladder and pinch or help in the back, which he may now need to do. There's the play through ladder. Harry holding the Godheady and the originals in a little bit of trouble here. 12v9, and the hit is starting to find some progress in the second tick. But Rafi for 2. Doesn't get the third, but Furious is there to pick things up, and the second tick will be denied.
That 2-piece, I mean, it was so pivotal right there. It allows them to breathe. It allows them to now push back out onto the map and force a lot earlier engagements for the side of Moneyform, and they have 30 seconds left. This hit right here, Alan, it has to count. They gotta find the kills, and they gotta get on the zone.
You gotta just stall the clock at least. You don't have enough time here to get another 7 kills, you feel like, if you're Moneyform. Nile mid-map denied, 7v6. There's the stall of the clock. Vortex playing for the trade on Rafi, but cannot get there in time, and Harry nearly loses it, but then it's a stun who gets the final word. 4v5, last opportunity. Beans looking for a 40 bomb, and to try to keep this map alive, has to decide on what the timing is of when to go, because you have to go. You have to get there. There are still defenders all over the place, and he's not going to be able to touch. Just took a split second too long, and the Originals will take away map number 3, puts them up 2-1 in the series as we consider the eventual Bocage hardpoint coming up.
I mean, we said it like 2-3-5, Alan. Maybe that's your chance, but how about giving Moneyform their very first loss in Tuscan Control, and just the way that they opened up with those rounds? I mean, it was so impressive. It was so aggressive. I mean, there was just like a different type of confidence that came with those opening rounds, and a lot of it, did come back onto the fact that Rafi was just having, incredible game here, bouncing back even after, the search and destroy, carrying that momentum through. And putting yourself in a position where you are now 2-1 up over the team that you need to beat, you have to beat in order to stay in playoff contention, and they are doing it. They are living up to it, and we have all the replays ready to go back through all of those incredible moments that just happened throughout the 5 rounds.
The opening offensive attack, this is the second week in a row that we've seen something new from Moneyform that makes me raise an eyebrow and go, oh, okay, I see what we're trying to do here. Last week we were watching them play this map, and it was a full 4-man flood to B, and I was like, well, that never works. And then, wait a second, this actually is working. And then this week it's a 4-man hit through Church on a cutback to B, and it did work for them for quite some time. They didn't secure the full round, but it did look pretty solid. The thing is, hey, we continue to mention the fact that you need somebody else to step up. And this time, Nile 31-28, Rafi 35-25, and even still with that round 5 win, neither of them could touch Beans, who nearly dropped 40 for the L. Tough pill to swallow there, I imagine, but wow, what a game of Tuscan Control that is. That's going to be a really fun one, I think, just to go to rewatch, because I think there were a couple of maybe missed opportunities or split-second decisions that were maybe made incorrectly that lead to bigger dividends than maybe what was seen. You talk about that play from Steve-O to not go to A off their offense and instead tries to go make a solo play to B. In the moment, it's like, oh, it's just a 1-for-1 trade, but it's 10 seconds, and it keeps you from having a 2v2 potentially at the end. So, I don't know. There are little decisions like that that I think are going to make Control really interesting to watch here in the early stages of Vanguard. I
agree with you. I mean, when teams are figuring things out, they're trying to just find the best way to set up, to break setups, especially after playing against, X team a couple of rounds. You start to change up things just slightly to see if that's going to end up playing any kind of an influence. So, I mean, it's a very fun one to watch. A lot of back and forth moments, and that's what we're here for. And the Originals, apparently they're here for it too, because they are now 2-1 up. I'm not gonna lie, Alan, I did not think that this was going to be a series count that we'd see at this point in time, especially after the way that the hardpoint had went for us there in the Tuscan, where they had really let up on the gas pedal, and it felt like they were unable to get back into it. And I thought that was going to be the same thing that happened when they went 0-2 up and almost lost 3 rounds straight. But that defense, I think, really coming in to be able to hold off there for us. And now we get to play off in a Bocage hardpoint where, listen, man, anything can happen. Throw your expectations out the window. I mean, we've seen a lot of individual performances here so far throughout the first 3 maps, and an individual performance on Bocage hardpoint can play the difference. It can solo win you a map at times.
Man, I'm really curious who's going to be the first team to just sit there and say, all right, Atlanta FaZe, we're going to steal that 2-2 setup that you just pulled this last weekend.
True.
And you think, you look over the course of like both of these rosters, both of them have 2 capable enough ARs to pull that off. But the thing is, and when I was kind of breaking that down, is it doesn't just rely on 2 ARs knowing exactly where you need to be at every single moment in time. It's a lot of trust that your SMGs are going to win in the trenches.
Yeah.
Because they have to essentially play 2v4 at times to know that, okay, if my ARs are locking things down, they're not going to get here for a minute to help me. So you've got to have a good amount of survivability for the subs. I'll be really curious to see if either of these 2 teams try to do something like that. I think if you're Moneyform, you got to go with what you know, right? Like, you're 3-1 in the map. use that same success method to work out here to get to map number 5 in the first place.
Yep.
But for the originals, you do have a little bit of luxury to play with here, knowing that you've got at least the map 5 in the back pocket, and it's a search and destroy where, again, they've been pretty solid. It's their strongest game mode is, just over the course of the total 3 that we have. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what both teams opt to do here from a setup side of things.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Bocage is an interesting one where we got to see it like over the weekend, and I think at times there was a lot of people coming in like, oh man, you're not going to be able to keep up with the pressure and do things that other teams are going to be able to do with 3 subs. But you have to kind of think that the Automaton works a little differently than like any AR that we've ever had that's been a main AR meta weapon, right, from the past Call of Duty titles.
It's not a Krieg.
No, it's definitely no Krieg. I'm trying to think of even like the AR back in Black Ops 4 where like there's just nothing that you're going to be able to do against it. Yeah, exactly. The ICR, like from range, it's going to completely shred you, but up close, man, I mean, it's not going to find a lot of value, but the Automaton does in Vanguard. So that really is the difference maker, where you have a really good flex player that's going to be able to balance, just picking up lanes, also being able to get involved inside of the hard point, and being able to find that beautiful balance that we talk about in Call of Duty is something that a flex player in this game can really find success with, especially on this map mode combination. So I'm definitely very excited to see how it ends up coming in here for us, Alan. I know you are too, because there's a world where if the Originals win this and then go into tomorrow and TNT also win their second matchup of the day, they might have to face off against a potential tiebreaker here to see who could get into that 4th slot potentially. A lot of implications need to take place before that, but I mean, we always like theory crafting what could end up happening, and if the Originals win this, it's something that could end up coming through.
So there are some stipulations in play here. This is the only series that is still going at the moment. Everybody else 3-0'd. Sukri's Bakery 3-0'd United Nations. Galactics 3-0'd TMT. And Revenge Tour, well, everyone's been 3-0ing Flux, so that was easy peasy, no problems there. And that means that, if you're TMT, I don't know if you're statistically or mathematically out right now. Because if Moneyform win this, you got 2 teams that are 5-1. They're already guaranteed. You got Sukri's Bakery and you got Galactics. They're guaranteed in. Revenge Tour has just put themselves in a position to be in as well, but I think they would need to lose. Originals would need to win here, and then TMT would have to beat Originals tomorrow. That could potentially lead to a high tiebreaker. I'm not good at math, so don't take me at my word, but it all starts with the Originals needing to win first and foremost here, I think, if you're looking at this immediate map set.
It sure does. And into the Bocage hardpoint we go, as it's going to be Steve-O, Vortex on the time first. And look at player 2 here. Harry's already zoning off any kind of an early rotation if someone was thinking of taking a route. So they're going to have to be forced through this trench area. And Vortex is like, hey, listen, I'm going to go clean that up too. But first, he's going to read and turn on Niall for 4 in a row. Luckily, will end up dropping, so no glide bomb is in. But look at this time off P1. This is a lot for money for him.
It is a lot of money for him, and for a moment there I started to wince because they were getting so far forward that the trades actually allowed the Originals a chance to spawn bottom left and maybe wrap around the back to fully flip before P2 opens. They don't fully get that envelopment that they're looking for, but it does create some space from the front because Moneyform have to be worried about what's coming around the back, at least until Harry and Beans go on 4 in a row. Now everything's fine. Apparently you just fully capitalize your name. You just throw the caps lock on, make your name all uppercase letters. You'll just do things like that, I guess.
Yeah, I like that one there. Yeah, no,
they're holding shift.
I hold shift, holding shift. There we go. We had to get it in. But I mean, incredible opening, incredible breakdown in Moneyform now with barn control. Players still in the back on 10. There was a moment to come away with 25 seconds, but with that said, there is a moment here for the Originals to be able to fight from the front. Harry is going to win that close-up engagement, and we'll have a second, and Harry is able to find 2. 15 seconds up for grabs. Rafi trying to play his life down low in the tank. That is not going to happen in Moneyform. They have opened up with a tremendous lead.
So, at the moment, I believe this is a now 2 AR setup, as Weeman has one and Beans has one. Yeah. And this is the point where Atlanta, they would put away one of the ARs in favor of an SMG, and that's exactly what Beans is going to do. So, okay, maybe a little bit of a copycatting off the playbook here after that P2 setup. So now 3 subs, trying to get Mixie inside. Niall needs to get a kill, bro. I wasn't going to mention it, but you go 0-9 through 3 hard points. I have to talk about it, especially considering that he has been statistically one of the worst players on this squad. Have to pick things up. You've got to find a little route right here. Get yourself going. Get your team back in this map, because right now, you could get clubbed real easy. And oh gosh, okay. Decent snapper, let's just say. That could have gotten really dangerous. And now the Originals a chance to contest from the front.
Yeah, a chance to be able to contest. I think this is time you're going to have to fight for right now, and Grad will be able to win out on a couple of key trades. Nile takes a route, comes from behind. He's going to be able to come back through and support the hill, but won't find any kills. However, this is okay. Scrap time will go over. The Original is going to close this to just about 45 points here or so. And now we start looking at Barn, where, of course, Money Form, they have the fast track rotation. They are here first. It's the Originals that got to play break.
Clean, though. Grad can get around the back with this position and at least contest these backside spawns. Yeah, look at number 1. Beans spawns completely out, so now Grad can get activated 5 in a row. Gets good information. I imagine off this call out that Beans is nearby, but wants to wait for help and very wisely holds his life just inside to soak up this hard point time. On the way back to a road to recovery early. 87 to 50, the current tally, and the kills are starting to come together. It's up to Money Form. How do you even try to break this? Because if you go too late, you're going to miss a time you get over to the new hard point. Harry, Beans, Steve-O, all finding 3, and, well, okay, you just cleanly break, and you make me sound like a silly man for a moment.
Beans there with the 2 Ps, and that's kind of what ignites the rest of it, to attack from different angles. And now over 100 points. Money Form starting to take firm control here, and Beans is not slowing down. Look at him just sprinting forward all the way in the back here. And he might be able to shoot a couple players in the back, but he does fire his gun, which means that he's going to pop up on the mini-map. He's got a read on Furious, but he's able to come through and take out Beans. So you've eliminated the players in the back here for the most part. Now you just need to try to hold this setup on top of the time.
Yeah, big kill off screen from Grad. You see the kill fit into Steve-O. That clears off the back of the map and secures the spawns here for the Originals. So from Money Farm spawning literally as far away as they humanly could, you need to make another decision here. How do you want to try to contest this time? Because you don't just want to let 30 seconds go for free. 2 good kills from Beans. Steve-O from the Riverside, and oh gosh. It's just, anytime you ask Money Farm to do something correctly, it's a 4-man beat. It's just they team wipe every single time. The glide bomb comes through, if only maybe just to get out of spawn. And that will allow a chance for this last 15 seconds to be looked at for the Originals.
Yeah, are you in their Discord call right now, Alan? Are you giving them the call?
I don't know.
Coaching these guys? it's
I had to double check it. I just had to make sure.
Yeah, just a quick little look there. I appreciate that. But 113 to 88, Originals here. Not out of this game by any means. I feel like they've done a decent job the last couple of hills to be able to close that gap a tad bit. But last time around, Money Form did find about 30 seconds here on P1. You do a much better job of just making sure they're not getting any free time, and you're putting a good amount of pressure on the map. And Rafty was trying to at least get someone in a position where they could maybe threaten this barn power position up top. But down low is going to be 2 players and just working off one another, but it is going to be Wee Man with that automaton for 2, and so far so good with good control around the P1 hills for the side of Money Form.
They spawn behind, though. Again, number 4, if Steve-O pushed through Grannies, he actually forfeits the favorite spawns. And I think Weeman has read this. He's trying to come back around to correct the mistake, but he's lost every single player from the Originals. The thing about it is the Originals have also kind of in the same breath lost him. So it's down to who sees who first in the back, and Weeman finally gets the elimination. That should start to control the situation, but for a moment there, things got a little dicey. Good awareness from Weeman. 3 in a row, 15 and 9. And now a chance for Money Farm to open up the second hard point again.
Oh, the recovery here is just so important. And last time around, the Originals, like, they could not really step into this hard point. And it starts with Barn. Nile's going to drop. You have to find Weeman. He has a chance at being able to earn himself another set of streaks. He jumps, goes to the pistol. Harry with the nade, deals with Rafi. And now they've cleared out everyone from the front. Those are deep spawns right now for the side of the Originals, and they are losing out on so much map control.
Have to stabilize right now if you're the Originals. You cannot allow this to get out of hand. And they're even going to try to contest again. This will leave them a little bit thin on the potential rotation, but kill for kill will be okay for you, especially if Grad can continue to hold down this barn position. The problem is Money Form are still soaking up time. Gosh, it just got out of hand. It's like one moment, one switch of the flip. One little flip of the switch has now turned this into a blowout game. And there's not a lot of room here for the Originals to get back in just because the score is already over 190 almost.
Oh, and they don't find Steve-O. I mean, that's a call, I guess, that didn't come through fast enough for Furious. And now Wee Man, look at this position here. If he finds a second, oh, it would have been so hurtful for the next attack because you still got Beans posted up on the 5 spree. Snaps there for number 6. Strafing run now confirmed. 100-point lead, and they are holding it from the front, spawn trapping the Originals at the back of the map. They finally get their feet in, but man, oh man, do they have some work to do.
Oh, yeah. At certain times, when we're doing kind of like the color analysis around these maps, sometimes we maybe turn molehills into mountains, but this is Mount Everest right here for the Originals. No question about it. Good kills that allow a break, but it's 10 seconds. So much left to do. So many streaks you have to live through. And you still have just not even participation across the map. It's another situation where not a single member for the Originals can even come close to getting to even at the moment. It's just... that's not good enough. You have to start seeing more progress out of the individuals if you want to be able to battle up against a game like Money Farm. They're just too good individually to not be playing a full 4-man squad if you're the Originals.
Well, there's a glimpse of hope, but 40 seconds required on this P4 hill. And let's see how they hold it. Well, it's not looking too good unless Niall gets a 4-piece, and that's not happening. So no one wins a single engagement as soon as they get control. And now Money Farm a chance to be able to put this one away. Streaks coming in just for fun. Stevo takes out one, including himself, but gets all the information, allows his team to push forward, gain that map control, hold on to the hard point. And Money Farm find a dominating hard point here on the Bocage as they close things out and send us to a map 5 on Berlin.
Look, at no point did I think we ever thought that this map series set, if it went to 5, would be because the Originals won a hard point. It's just this Money Farm team is just too good. I would say, like, between them and Sucres and Young Galactics, they're by far the best hard point teams in Europe, when there's, like, a huge gap between them and I feel like everybody else at the moment. But the thing is, we're continuing to see this Originals team suffer because they're not getting all 4 members involved. It's another situation where Niall goes 0-9, 1-10, only averaged, I think, 1 kill per hard point through the first rotation, and still finished double negative. You just cannot afford to do that if you're going to beat teams like Money Farm or Sucres Bakery or what we get out of Young Galactics. You have to be able to be playing the best Call of Duty that you've seen throughout the entire 5-map series. You can't just do it in one map, you've got to do it through all 5. So the good news here is, again, the Originals have done what they've needed to do. They took the must-win map 2, you got through, showed us that your Tuscan control is looking pretty darn good, and you guaranteed a map 5 just from after that. But I still think that you look back over these hard points, and there's a lot of just skill differential being built between these two squads, and it leads to a very uncertain future for how the Originals could potentially take this map 5 against Money Farm, who have been so good on this map. Even though they've got a handful of losses, the only losses that they've suffered in Surge, well, 3 out of the 4, round 10 and 2 round 11s, most of that coming on Berlin. So you have to feel like improvements are going to be made, and the Originals need to come out and, again, show us what we have not yet seen. Every single member has to be playing the best Call of Duty in the day in this map 5 if they want to win it.
You said it. Every single member needs to do it. It can't just be Rafi coming out here and dropping 13 kills for us.
13, yeah.
You know, like that is something that is just exceptional from an individual point of view, but not something you can rely on, right? So you're hitting on it, and now we'll take a look at some of the replays of what was just Money Farm terrorizing the Originals here on Bocage Hardpoint, and a huge part of it just really came in where it was just everyone kind of going off here and showing us that, listen, this is not going to be done and dusted here in the map 4 round. We are in fact going to a map 5 on Berlin.
The thing is, kind of like the Tuscan that we saw, this stretch between 4, 5, and 1 again was actually really solid for the Originals.
True.
But you let off the gas or you miss one thing, and Money Farm are so quick to punish you on any mistakes that you make. That's what makes them such a good hardpoint team. What makes them such a good respawn team is they're quick to fill in the spaces that you give them. And it also helps that Stevo goes 31-19.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's casual for him. He's pretty good at the video game.
Yeah,
but
it's not too bad.
That's the thing. And it's not just, I don't mean to sound like I'm coming off harshly on Originals. Like, that is everybody right now. You cannot make mistakes versus Money Farm team. They will punish you, and they'll do it quickly and convincingly, because that was within 20 points, I want to say, at one point in time. And it was around like a 100 to like 115 margin, and it finishes off 250 to 118. So yeah, you can't let Money Farm get away with that.
Can't keep getting away with it, Alan. Same thing happened in the Tuscan Hardpoint, where back and forth, had a lead, and then 2 or 3 hills just chained in a row for about 40, 50 seconds even at times. And yeah, when stuff like that happens, the game just gets completely out of reach. You have to start worrying about streaks, and now you have to start worrying about this map number 5 here. If you're the Originals, they need this win. They have to come in here and pull it off to not only obviously beat the Originals, but also, or rather, excuse me, beat Moneyform, but also keep themselves in contention for playoffs, to have a shot to be able to make it to that top 4 and move on to that double elimination bracket. If there's an opportunity to be able to get yourself in, it starts with taking down this squad here in the map number 5 on Berlin. And both have plenty of reps on the map mode combination here for us, which I guess is one takeaway. They're both 1 in 3, so they both haven't exactly seen success, but do have quite a bit of reps, at least on this map mode combo throughout the Elite.
And to say this much, to again, I'm just going to keep flip-flopping, playing both sides of the sword here. The round 11s, by the way, losses for the side of Moneyform were to TMT and Flux. And neither of those teams are necessarily great at search and destroy, although I will say for Flux, that's the only mode that they've won maps on. So, you know, there is something to be said about that. They are pretty competent on that. And TMT, kind of the same situation, like not their best mode, but definitely not their worst. So there is something there. But the fact that you went round 11 versus 2 teams that have pretty much already been out of playoff contention, I mean, that does say something there, right? Like, you're in a spot where those aren't just round 11 losses. They're round 11 losses versus the bottom 2 teams currently in the standings. Where on the other front, you know, you take a look at what the score lines had been for the Originals. They have a round 10 loss to Revenge Tour, good search and destroy team. They lost 2-6 to Sukri's Bakery, and I guess they also lost 3-6 to Flux. But the big thing that stands in my mind is that they went 6-0 up on United Nations, who's also a pretty solid search team. So there is some kind of strength of schedule and results that could be affecting this conversation. But kind of like we set up for the Berlin Map 5 in our first series, kind of throw all that away. Lean forward onto your chairs here, because we should be in for something pretty tasty.
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, there's a lot of creative minds going into this map number 5 here for the final lobby, and we've already seen a lot of close S&Ds on the day, going all the way, you know, to these round 11s, these round 10s, very close sets. Sniper's going to come into play here for us, and I think we're just getting a bit of a different strategy that's coming through for some of these teams, because it's such a beautiful thing when you get the CDL in the mix, especially now that we're in season, we're in stage 1. Teams are actually pulling out their strategies that they're looking to utilize on a week-to-week basis, and are looking to adjust on a week-to-week basis, which is so easy to feed off of when you're some of these challenger players and you're looking for, you know, some of that creative incentive on what we could do, what could we change up, how are we going to retake this site, how are we going to be able to defend it. And a lot of Berlin, it comes down to retaking. When you're on the defense, you need coordination, you need players being able to hit flanks, hit pinches, and you're looking at some of your sub players to step up and actually fulfill that role. So it's going to be a good look at what we could end up getting here for us. And with the fact, you know, both being 1 and 3, and you know, not really having any expectations set here for us, you know, you never know what you're going to be in for. You never know what they're going to be willing to try. And I do feel like, you know, the Originals have this luxury to be able to throw in some of these curveballs that could end up throwing a team like Moneyform off, because when we were watching over them last week, I was watching over them on Berlin. They do tend to slow things down. You know, Harry's probably going to be playing top 3. You know, Vortex is going to be there to entry with Beans. So I think there are some notable keys that you can take away for some common trends that have been coming through, at least with this roster, that you might be able to potentially exploit if you're the Originals.
Love it. No excuses. That's really what it comes down to. Everyone's got access to watch what we've seen so far in the mainstream, as well as the VODs of all their other matches that we provided. So no excuses here. And talk about just, do you have, I saw the meme where it's like, it's map 5, you've got 1 of 2 things. You're either the brick of ice or the puddle of water. There's really no in between, that. It feels like right now. And it just comes down to, you are in a must-win situation to keep your playoff hopes alive if you're the Originals. Gotta bring it. You gotta bring it right here and right now. So hopefully we have a second to kind of look into it. As we already referred to, if you're joining us here a little bit late, all of the other series that have been going on in the second stream slot were 3-0s, and all for the teams that were favored. Revenge Tour, Galactic, Sukri's Bakery took care of business. So this is the last series that could potentially start to put some questions into what happens for the final standings and how important will tomorrow be. If Originals wins, things become very interesting. If they lose, our top 4 is pretty much locked in, unless Revenge Tour loses out and you've then got an opportunity for Originals to win. Then maybe there's a 1-for-1 tiebreaker there, which I believe the Originals would lose if that's the case. Not going to sell the farm on that point, but it very well, I think, is going to be like that. So must win, again, just trying to reinforce that point.
Absolutely. I'm gonna put you in the hot seat, Alan. I mean, who's taking it?
Do it.
Who's doing it? Are the originals?
Oh,
Are they gonna
you
keep
get
the
it.
story alive, or are Moneyform just too good? Are they just gonna go 5-1 here? Let me hear it.
You can't do this to me.
Oh, I'm doing it. It's happened.
God, bro.
Hot seat.
Trying to
I make you go first too, right? So it's not as bad on me.
Yeah,
See
so
what
you
I'm
can do
doing
the
here?
opposite, and then one of us
Like-
looks smart. Okay. I think the overall is Moneyform. I just don't see them coming off of 2 round 11 losses and not making considerable improvements. And again, we don't know for a fact what every map was that they played during the Cup, but they came out of the winners bracket and won grand finals and won best of 5, if I remember correctly. So assume that Berlin Search and Destroy was played somewhere in the midst of that tournament on Sunday. Figure that their reps will probably give them advantage. I think I've got Moneyform in this one, but I don't know. I'm kind of like in a certain way, like there's a part of me that's like also rooting for the originals just so we can get playoff chaos tomorrow.
Yeah, playoff chaos, just a little bit of that underdog story in there, you know what I mean? I think that's what I'm leaning towards. I think I got the originals going into this one, and it's only because of the performance that we've been seeing, from people like Rafi so far in the day. I just feel like he's not ready to throw in the towel here, Alan. He's like, listen, I'm coming out here. It's like the final round. You're going into it. Boxing match, I don't know, UFC match, round 5. You're just like, I'm going to put it all out there, and we're going to see exactly what I can do. So I'm looking at Rafi to be one of those big guys here. But I'd also like to see some big stuff from Niles because he's been hit and miss. He's been hot and cold. We've obviously pretty much been one of the big talking points this entire series here for us. So if he can come out big in a map 5 like this and be a pivotal reason on why they take down Moneyform, it could be an incredible turnaround for him maybe going into the rest of the season. But it's time to get into it. They certainly took their time, so I have to imagine they got something spicy set up here for us going into the Berlin Search and Destroy. But here we go. Do or die for playoffs for the originals. Moneyform looking just to keep things down to 1 loss, both 1 and 3 with some additional reps of the Cup. Let's get into it, brother. Let's see how it comes together.
And it's going to be the side of Moneyform on the offense first. And how about it? Right towards the corner. Harry watching to see if anyone crosses. You wait for the nades, the smoke comes out, you stun backside docks, and you get on. But they don't have clearance to fully plant yet. Niles close. Okay. Unbelievably close. And watching the doorway! Stevo doesn't get the kill! The bomb is denied, and Nile with a massive 2-piece to kick us off.
Yeah, that's a lot of trust that you put in the player watching over you while you're getting that bomb down, and Vortex can't win that battle. And now that means you have a 2v4, and it's just basically a long setup here throughout the docks in the riverside. And why wouldn't you set up like this? You know the bomb's down, but what can Wee Man do from behind here with some of the high ground? He's going to spot out Niles, so he finds that first one, and he makes things manageable with about 40 seconds left.
So you know where he's at, obviously, but I don't even know why Nile changes his position. He was in a great spot to watch the cross in the first place, but this is the problem. Wee Man does not expect Rafi to be so deep past the crane that it does allow the trades to come through. And I'm a bit surprised in the first place. Like, I get that the early gut check call is we get 2 players towards site. You just watch my window, I'll plant. But they should have known that Nile was playing dock side. I'm a bit surprised they didn't try to, like, double chow him on the right side through docks first, just to see if you can push him back and get some damage into him. You don't even need to get the kill. But such is life. They make the wrong decision, and Nile provides an unbelievable double to save the round.
That's what we needed from him. Step up, go big, have some of these moments that we'll remember, especially if you can make playoffs. And now we'll be responsible for trying to get this bomb down as he switches off the automaton. And it's going to be Furious who just creates some noise, right? Draws some pressure, gets information. How many players are here? 2, perfect. Let's play for a plant at A. And they are taking their time on getting this bomb down, but they do have full control over the site if they decide to drop it. And Wee Man should be giving a lot of this information to his teammates as the push comes through and Crad finds first blood.
But watch this flank coming out from Moneyform in the back. They've got Stevo that could play around. He obviously knows that Furious is nearby. Rafi's also watching this doorway. Decent shots from Stevo. Gets pushed back, but he sneaks over towards the side door. He actually gets here pretty darn cleanly. And then from the front, Beans finds another elimination, but there is enough of a crossfire to allow even exchange to happen for now. 2v2, 20 seconds on the clock. Grad waiting. Doesn't have to make a play yet. Rafi is still the one responsible for what happens over the top of the bomb. Now we got a 1v1. Beans sticking 3 in a row. Grad has to check this, sees it happen, and then not enough time to put down the bomb and get the gun back up. The originals take the second round.
How big?
Massive.
Opening engagement, pushed all the way through the site. and able to find that second and play his life. And he just repositioned, I want to say like 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout that round after the post plant. Was just all over the place, and they could never really track him down to the point where they found the effective trade. And because of that, Grad is now 4-0. One off of earning that first set of streaks here on a map like Berlin, where you can find quite a bit of favor here with the utility in your back pocket. And I mean, just on top of it all, it's the Originals that have kicked things off 2-0 and have already set some of the tempo. And now Money Form, they're going to try to make something happen. But Grad on the force spree, he does not care, Alan. He is ready to go again as soon as his teammates give him the info.
He's able to do that because Raffi's watching over the top of him on one side and Niall's watching over him on the other. And now to play for this streak, all you have to do is wait for point of contact and either help through side door or make the wrap around mid and get a free kill for the glide. Raffi, some pressure through A. He calls for Grad to maybe come back and assist. And, well, maybe not needing it. First blood goes the way of Raffi, survives on 5, and Grad can continue to watch mid-map.
4 versus 3 now. Grad still working for that last kill for the first set of streaks at least. The glide more important than the strafing run. And he's just going to rush in. He's tagged up a little bit. Will have to play his life under fire. Weeman shuts him down. And from the back, Niall's able to come up with 1. But the trades will end up going the way of Money Form. And now they're making a call. Run right through mid. We know we got a couple players pinned defensively inside of A. Beans cleans up 1. And it all comes down to Furious in the 1v2.
Furious will hit a timing here to potentially get over to the tank. And Beans has not seen... Oh, now he has. But the bomb gets planted, and Furious wins the first 1v1. Oh, doesn't mean to open the window. He wanted the SMG, I think. Or whatever weapon was on the ground. But he gets the regen off. Now through the windows. Here comes Bean. He has to check the bomb. 1v1! Not going to come through. Beans hops over. And Money Form on the board.
How clutch has Beans been? And he finds that last kill right in the 2v2. Puts it into the 1v2 here for Furious. And I mean... those moments where you have no real visual, like on the site, you know he's in there. Is he defusing? Is he not defusing? You have to play that little mind game with yourself. And I feel like the whole way through, Beans is not even breaking a sweat. Just plays it perfectly.
For
a little
real.
peek through the window, wraps around, wins that gunfight, ready for it, and goes big for his team to make sure that Money Form get themselves here on the board.
We saw how good Beans was with the sniper rifle on Tuscan. Can he be good here on Berlin? Yep. As soon as Devo finds first blood, Beans gets the second. The aggressive push through for the Originals completely stopped in its tracks. And with a 2v4 situation, look at the defense. They're just going to play super defensive, maybe even allowing the bomb to be planted here at A just to play for a 4-man retake. And you got Weeman in a position to where he should be able to see anybody on top of the bomb, just kind of shouldering this angle. And yeah, so he'll see Raffi cross. But the thing about it is the bomb is actually maybe trying to sneak back over to be, well, now it's the last player left alive. Niall, 1v4.
Yeah, there he goes. Just going to try to slip and slide off into the water there. And what has been a great opening there for the Originals for the first couple of rounds has now been nicely responded with back-to-back rounds here. And tying us up, Money Form. Feels like they're starting to get their feet underneath themselves, starting to find good reads on the map. Good first bloods as well. Have played a pretty pivotal reason on why they've been able to get themselves back in with the help of Beans in the clutch there in the previous round. But 3 in a row here for Beans, 2 in a row for Vortex, Stevo. And a chance to be able to continue to see if you can get some streaks in the mix. But attacking now, round number 5, right into A. Raffi is not going to have Grad with him. Grad gets picked off here for first blood.
This is such a brilliant setup. You don't have Beans sniping this time. Instead,
Furious.
I was about to say, the Originals have smoked that cross, I think, every single round. And this time, Money Form put pressure up through mid-rubble on the broken hallway and then try to full flood through secret to get up and catch a timing. But it's a brilliant response. Raffi clears up the rest of the litter around A. And it's now just down to Weeman, who was in a position early to watch over the middle of the map. But he's not going to be allowed to stay here. You've got to make a play to get the bomb. And only 45 seconds to do it.
A bit of time, but a lot of angles to check, especially around this site. You don't know if they're going to be in like a back-to-back setup here in A, and with an automaton, it's pretty hard to find 2 kills here in the 1 mag when you just have to kind of move in. But he will now have the confidence to say, all right, A is clear. I could play for a plant, but is he going to check his back at train station? Doesn't matter. Raffi is there finds the gunfight. Big kills come in. The Originals bounce back after losing a couple rounds in a row and take that lead back in their favor.
Even though it's a lost round, I do like the idea of the setup. Because you've established the threat of Beans. You know that means that, hey, they're likely going to smoke this cross every single time from here on out in the defense.
Sure.
And if that's the case, that means they don't have the ability of watching that early push from Secret upside this courtyard staircase. So it's a really nice idea. And I think in theory, it's probably a strategy that you keep in the playbook because I do like the creativity of it. The problem is Furious shuts it down by finding the first blood in that engagement. And from there on out, you just really don't find value on the information you're looking for. Beans sniping over the top of A. Stuck in a very weird spot. Grad looks to challenge. Nade cooked up. Will get a bit of damage, but not enough for the kill, nor to stop the plant, as we've got a 4v4 post-plant situation.
Oh, Beans! I was going to say, in this position, it's not the easiest to find kills, but is able to get Grad there, slipping through the window. Quick little glimpse, and he finds the shot. Chance for a second. Rafi doesn't want to stick around too long to give him an opportunity, but Furious has been able to equal us out. And now from the back, here comes Nile. Sniper's not good back here. Losing out on another, and now you're so low on time. It is a 2 versus 2, but you're going to have to clean up these kills incredibly quickly. And Furious from the side is actually red. Is there a chance? There is a chance! Oh my goodness, they had to check the bomb, and Wee Man and Harry win both of their individual gunfights.
That is a cataclysmic mistake from the Originals. All you have to do is shoulder from that side door. You can even shoulder through back lobby. But Nile, I don't know if he's just stuck, not able to get through the window or what, but he's on the outside of those doorways with no entry back in the lobby. And honestly, the bigger mistake was to play through side door, playing for the elimination, not just shouldering to see if he's on. You've got the clock. That's your biggest ally. You had to kill off 3 seconds worth of time. Wow. Massive mistake. And we've said that before about how if you make a mistake versus Money Form, they will punish. So instead of a 4-2 tally, it's 3-3. And it feels like just the life has been sucked out of the lungs of the Originals just after that play. Early contest for the cross through B, but the smoke will eventually allow Beans in. But him tagged as heavily as he is, he may have to wait for regen and help before he can get to planning.
They're going to try to get it down. Furious. He switches positions with Nile and has been able to find that first kill. And of course now Beans doesn't have the confidence to really lay this until Harry maybe gets over, but they do equalize the numbers with a kill onto Grad there. And that's going to put us in the 3 versus 3. 45 seconds. Harry has his window. Beans is going to make the call. He's going to try to drop the rock on B.
And he's put it into post-plant's position where Wee Man can also help out from afar. But there is no exit here from Beans. So in a 3v3, you have to go 1 for 1 here. Furious, first contested. Oh, it's clean. Now Nile trying to zone. Gets the better part of Harry, but it's not enough to force out an elimination. And now deeper on the high-low setup. Wee Man's able to also put some shots, and nobody on the defuse as of yet. Regen should be here. 15 seconds. Both defenders looking to challenge forward. They get Rafi. And Furious, he's just going to give it away. Doesn't want Harry to get streaks.
Yep. Harry's one off of a glide. He's going to back all the way up. He's on a bit of a spree himself. Not close to what Harry is currently on, but 2 in a row. Also, we'll try to value his life here, but I mean, these last couple of rounds got a sting right now for the Originals, Alan.
Oh, yeah.
The round before, missing out there on a round that was just 1.5 seconds away of being yours. If you just found the kill, or if you were able to play your life, it doesn't happen. And in this one, they just can't deal with Beans fast enough. He's able to buy a lot of time. And once that time starts to come through, you have Harry watching over you. On top of that, you have Wee Man who have the ARs in the back, and they can effectively get those trades after all that time you bought. So 4-3 up, Money Form, trying to see if they can get themselves that much closer, closing out the map here. But the Originals, they're going to try their hand on A, and that's a big kill. Wee Man can't escape with his life on the exit, but look at the pressure from Vortex. He runs right through, will be traded, and already a 3 versus 2 in favor of the Originals.
Oh, big kill from Grad. He makes the right read here. If you're going to try to hit us quickly through mid on this defensive hold of A, that's the whole idea. Wee Man's supposed to be able to just play his life over the top of the bomb, and then you pinch with the SMGs that make their way through the middle of the map. But with them already kind of missing out on that opportunity, Grad just pushes forward. Now you get a read on where the last player is. The kill will come through. Even if it doesn't, you set up the post plant for lobby, and it's a difficult spot to break. So we go round for round now. As a 4-4 tally. And we've seen some really interesting looks. I'm just curious to see what is it going to be from Beans this round. Is he going to snipe coming out of spawn? Because it's been a major X factor from Moneyform so far.
It has been, and Harry didn't get the glide either. That kill coming through there in the end, shutting Harry down, making sure there's no glide in play, makes things more manageable if you're the Originals. And offense coming in, Moneyform still trying to pressure this A site. Raffi here has a teammate with him. They're both going to play pretty close quarters inside of that A site. His shots are already coming through, and Steve-O, the nade, the barrels, something blows him up here. And now you're going to lose one of your key members. And I think this is also going to shrug them off of trying to make something happen to A. A rotation over to B might be the call.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that they were trying to commit to A in the first place, because we saw Beans come out of spawn, no sniper rifle, but he was trying to watch that long cross up top at statue. He wasn't taking any shots. If you have to maybe assume that he did see some information on how many players had crossed, but now it's on Furious. Again, 1 kill's enough, and he's found it. Smokes his feet, gets a read on the Beans over the top of the bomb, wants the challenge, and puts Beans down where he slid through. And the last player mid-map, nothing there. The Originals, 1 round away from Nesloing the series and staying alive for playoff hopes.
2-3-5, baby. And it is looking possible. That is for sure. 1 more round. That's all they need. And they are going to be on the attack. What do you do here? You have Claus, Furious Claus has the glide bomb. He earns it there in that round. You can play this round as slow as you like, work a slow push over to B, make some noise by A. You have plenty of options, but it looks like they're going to take full control of Mail first, get set up, and then likely call in this glide.
Yep, this will be a hit to B 100%. But watch these crosses. Oh, I was about to say, Beans nearly can pull the head off. So now it's down to Harry. Can he stay alive inside? No. But you still have players that can watch this cross. And think about it. Look at number 6. Grad's on the flank. He opens up space through fire. 2 kills down, and Grad on another route finds Weeman in the back. It's just down to Beans with a pistol. Getting pushed aside. And it's the long route from Grad. 6 for the count. The Originals stay alive with playoff hopes.
They stay alive, Alan. 6-4 victory. 2-3-5 the whole way through. And can you believe it? A team like Moneyform, a team that has been on form, on point, don't have what it takes to go up against the likes of the Originals here in the Search and Destroys. It's their bread and butter. It's what they rely on, and it's what allows them to go big and clutch up here in this best of 5. An incredible series the entire way through, but what an upset. What a series.
So, I'm just going to give you the immediate payoff. Originals stay alive. They go to 3-3. Moneyform go to 4-2 alongside Revenge Tour. Guess who plays each other tomorrow?
No way. They don't play.
Originals will play TMT. Moneyform will play Revenge Tour. So there is head-to-head tiebreaker scenarios. If Originals beat TMT, they stay alive. The thing about it is they hold the tiebreaker advantage versus Moneyform. They do not versus Revenge Tour. So what the situation tomorrow will be, Originals need to beat TMT, and Moneyform has to lose to Revenge Tour for Originals to get in. That's the situation tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Production, we know what 2 matches we're getting on stream tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah, we need that one without a doubt. But oh my goodness, Alan, just incredible work done for the Originals. A lot of big moments. I mean, as much as everyone, I think, did have, a massive role throughout this series, big shout out to Raffi, big shout out to Grad. I feel like they really took over the S&Ds at times. It was Raffi in the Tuscan, and it was Grad here in the Search and Destroy. Furious consistent, I feel like, the whole way through, just like he's been this entire elite, and Nile definitely had his moments here and there. But just talk about Grad having, an exceptional performance like that, being able to take over the map. I mean, as much as we're saying, like, it's not something you can rely on, it's something they somehow keep finding a way to do. So it has been phenomenal this entire way through, and it's been a treat to watch these guys.
One more day of the round robin, but not done for today. In day 3, North America still to come in just under an hour. 2 massive matchups. UIU, Path to Pro, Team War, 18 and Cracked. You want to talk about standings implications, look no further than those two matches. But we started the day with Sucre's Bakery taking down Revenge Tour. Moneyform not able to get another map 5, this time versus the Originals. And that puts Chaos into the mix for Europe standings and playoff implications. Again, only the top 4 make it to the double elimination playoff brackets. Different from last year if you're watching along and following from what we did in the Cold War year. The bottom 4 teams relegated. See you next qualifiers. Try to play spoilers tomorrow. I'm not ready for it. I cannot wait for Infinity and Proper to get through. But that does it for us here on Europe for now. North America, again, like we mentioned, is not too far off. In terms of the standings for now, though, again, you got to say the congratulations with the Craig. Whoa, wow, words. Congratulations will come from 5-1 are Sucre's Bakery and Young Galactics. They're into playoffs. But tomorrow, 2 major matchups. Revenge Tour and Moneyform, Originals TMT. Do not miss it.